Hello and welcome to our Ultimate Cheltenham preview night, brought to you by Paddy Power, which is also my name, the Racing Post, RacingTV and our friends at SportingLife. And I'm delighted to be joined by our esteemed panel of Cheltenham's winning most ever jockey, Ruby Walsh. We've got award-winning RacingTV broadcaster, the one and only Lydia Hislop. We've got Group 1 winning trainer and general purveyor of good crack, Tony Mullins. No pressure, Tony. Crack. The internet's favourite bookie turned pundit and, of course, superstar couch to 5k athlete, Johnny Dineen. Very welcome, everybody. A few commercial plugs to get through, first of all. Lots to get through this evening, but the commercial overlords will go mad if I don't mention some of the incredible offers we've coming up for the festival. So free bets, we're going to have free bets for online customers for each of Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. And the Eliminators back, our free-to-play game. It'll be available to play on all 4 days of the festival, and each day will have a prize pot of 250 grand. So by my maths, that's £1 million up for grabs across the meeting, and it doesn't cost a cent to enter. Right, we're going to do this 28 races to cover, obviously. We're going to go through them in chronological order, 7 races per day, and we're going to try and stick to about half an hour per day. If you don't have an opinion, that's fine. Responsible gambling before we begin. If you are planning to have a bet next week or any week, indeed, please remember to do so responsibly. Let's get on with the show. So we'll start off with the traditional curtain raiser, the Supreme Novices. Unlike recent years, extremely wide open affair. Old Park Star tops the market, and producer Mark tells me that we're going to show some clips or there's going to be some racing. Yeah, there will be some stuff going on the screens while we're chatting away here, so they don't have to look at us all the time. Ruby, we're going to start with you. Is Old Park Star a worthy favourite for the Supreme?
Yeah, he's been very good. I thought he was really good at Cheltenham in December time. Wasn't the strongest race in the world, but you'd love the way he did it. Showed a good turn of foot at Haydock thereafter. He's been very good. He has the experience which some of the rivals don't have, but I think it's a really tricky Supreme, Paddy, to find a winner of. How good a race it is, only time will tell, but I think it's a really competitive race and a tricky one to find a winner of.
Okay, so not nailing your colours to any mast yet?
No, I wouldn't. I think he's got a good chance, and he's probably has a lot of things going for him in that he's a simple and straightforward horse to ride. He'll be bang on the pace. He's a solid jumper. He's not going to be too far away. So I think for those reasons, he's an obvious one. But there's horses like Sober Glory that be ridden quite similarly and are much bigger prices that are going to be up there on the pace in a good position all the way. And you know, he looks like he stays going as well. And he's 10-1 with one bad run. But I think it's a competitive race, talk to talk. El Kairos, Leader Dahlia, even Mighty Park, if he was to go here. I think there's great strength and depth in it, but I'd want something at a better price than 2-1.
Okay. And Lydia, do you think that tactics might come into it then? It could be one set up for a closer or...
Oh, I think it possibly could be. I think there's a lot of pace in this race. I mean, Mighty Park would add to it if he was there. I suspect Old Park Star can just be, it doesn't have to be right up there, but he would be comfortable being there as well. But there's plenty of pace on Sober Glory as one, Idaho Sun, another, Mossy Fen Road, another. So this is going to be a well-run race, and I think it's very competitive. That's going to put some pressure potentially on Talk the Talk's jumping. I've put him forward at 11-2 already, which I think is obviously much shorter now. And the question for him is, did the steadier pace and the deeper ground last time enable him to jump better? Or if at a faster pace and on a sounder surface, if it is a sounder surface, which it probably should be, is that going to put his jumping under pressure again, as it was when he came to win at Christmas at Leopardstown and ended up falling? That wasn't the first mistake that he made. You could take the view that he's learning. I'm tending to take that view. I was just hugely impressed with how much ground he was able to make up to be able to run down the 2 front runners, Ballyfad and King Rasco Grey at the DRF. I thought that he did really well there to do that, and they wanted to settle in behind the pace. I think a strong pace in that regard will help. It's just whether his jumping holds up.
But you're stick with him?
I am, very much so, yeah.
Okay, Tony?
Yeah, no, strong opinion. The favourite looks solid. You know, you see, you haven't had a proper look at Willie's if you allow December was a bad month for his horses. So a lot of them, you know, this horse has only one run, is it?
Mighty Park.
Yeah.
Only the one run, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't had a look at him because generally speaking, Willie's horses tell you the second run.
Yeah.
And El Kyrgios, Elliot seemed to have a lot of talk about him, but I can't have his jumping in either place. Thurles either. He came down to the last, he didn't know where he was. Off up in the air and then wobbled around, and through natural ability he ran away from the other. So I agree that he has the ability, but if you worry about that and jumping, El Kyrgios, to me, he hasn't shown any indication that he learned anything from day 1 to day 2 for me. So, does Leader Dallier run here, or will he run in the 2.5?
I'd have thought he'd go here. It was 2 miles in point. He won. He was second to Ballyfat at Christmas.
I was very impressed with him. They were disappointed at Christmas, but again, Willie's horses weren't running great. I thought he was massively impressive the last day in Punchestown. And maybe it's interesting to note that the application of a tongue tie seemed to bring about a different horse to me. And just for a value bet to start off the meeting.
And what would that be? Just there was an issue with his breathing or something? Or?
Well, obviously, they didn't hear any issue, or they'd have put one on. Like, I mean, they don't forget to put on But when you go into it deeper, this horse has run 8 times in his life. 6 in France and 2 in Ireland. He's been beaten twice in his life. And he wore a tongue tie the other 6.
Okay. There's a bit of
That's
a trend
just,
there.
it's something that takes a bit of looking up now to get that, but that's the facts.
Yeah.
He's only ever been beaten the twice he didn't wear a tongue tie.
So let's hope they don't forget the tongue tie at Cheltenham.
And I don't think that they did forget it at Christmas. I don't think he makes a noise.
Yeah.
But I've had a few of those over the years that don't gurgle outwardly, that you can hear, but at the same time a tongue tie improves them. So maybe we call it a silent soft palate.
Yeah.
But it does happen. And all I can tell you is this horse has only been beaten twice out of 8. And that was the twice he didn't wear a tongue tie.
You started off by saying I don't really fancy anything in this race, and now you're making a really strong case
well,
for
I'm not
Leeds.
making a real strong. I'm saying he's 14 to 1.
Yeah, okay, it's a bit of value.
And I reckon if people factored in all the things about the holes in the other ones, he's a real value bet to start off the meeting.
Right, Johnny, final word.
Yeah, very open race. I wouldn't be that keen in the favourite myself. I have a feeling he won't win. I'd say he'll run okay, but I don't think he'll win. I'm getting a vibe from people that should know as well, that they think he's a good horse without being a superstar horse as well at the same time. Like, if you look at his form, he glanced at Midnight, beating that. I know it won really well, and it was very impressive in Cheltenham. Go on then to his next run, beating Soldier Reed, Hurricane Pat. I think Hurricane Pat probably underperformed, and there was nothing else in the race really. Look, I'd say he's about maybe a 150 horse, maybe roughly in around that area. But I do think this is a deep race, and I do think there would be horse at least one, maybe more, better than him.
Okay, grand. So not sure, talk the talk, Leader Dallier. Grand, that's the supreme.
I actually backed Leader Dallier anti-post, but I'm very worried about Mighty Park coming into this race now. The fact that he's here and with the big reputation he has, I'd say he could even be the one to beat.
Okay, we'll wait and see. Right, the Arkle's another wide open race. Lulamba topping the market at the moment, possibly the rightful favourite, but breathing down his neck is Kopek de Board, who bids to be the first horse to win the Arkle off the back of one run since
Western Warhorse.
Western Warhorse.
Western
Well done,
Warhorse,
Lydia, yeah. Tell us your view of the race. You got the question right, you get to go first.
I have. This is the race I've probably got the most developed view on. I think at the prices now, I would back Kopek de Board. I think he is a brilliant enough horse, or a good enough horse. We saw that in the Supreme last year, to be able to win the Arkle just off the back of one race. We know it's not impossible, and we know this is a very good horse. Looking at Lulamba, I think that those 4 quick early fences in pairs of 2 could get him on the back foot very early. I think the same thing could happen to Romeo Coolio. And I think that it's going to rely on Kopek de Board being able to translate his jumping at the second time of asking, but I think he's good enough to do that. I think Cargesi is going to be making sure that it's a good pace as well. So I think that Lulamba and Romeo Coolio could end up being quite a way behind early. Now, if either of them, but particularly Lulamba, is on the premises turning for home, I'd be a little bit worried. But I think at this point now, it would be Kopek de Board quite strongly for me. The horse I think is possibly overpriced is Steel Ally, because I think that he can deal with a fast pace. I thought we saw that with Mirabad last time, and just hang around. I don't see him losing his position in quite the same way, and I could just see him hitting the frame. I'm not making an argument for him to win, but in a race where I think lots of things could happen, and lots of things could happen very early on, there is a scenario that Kopek de Board blows out. So there are lots of question marks there. But my choice would be Kopek de Board, but I think I'm going to be playing perhaps in markets without a favourite, depending on what happens there. I might be looking at having an angle on Steel Ally to be able to pick up some pieces.
Okay, so it sounds like it could be a crack of a race, Johnny.
Yeah, it will be, and it'll be interesting to see how Copic de Boer gets on. I'd slightly favour Lulamba. I just think he has that bit more experience, and he's just a percentage call. Like, okay, I even heard a fella saying the other night, and he's right too. Okay, Copic de Boer has defined the trend of having only one run, but he's had a few niggles as well, because that's why he's only had one run. So you have to get him trained properly as well as coming here on the back of one run. I do agree with Lydia. Lulamba's his vulnerability is in the early stages of the race, but I do think if he's hanging around, coming around the last bend, I do think he'll finish best of all, and I think he'll win. But as you say, the first 4 fences are going to be vital for him, and that because I even noticed the last day the jockey, Nico de Bonville, said he couldn't get up the inside of Saint Segal jumping the water jump at Newbury. That would be a small bit concerning now, really, in a race like on maybe quicker ground here. But I just love horses that are not going that well in a race, and next thing, boom, they're back in the bridle, contest over. You know, and he did that a few days. He did that in Sandown when he threw a leap at one of the ones down the railway fences, and he did it in Newbury last day as well. On the home, Tony was saying, no, I'm in trouble here if you did back him, and then suddenly the race is over. They're the horses I like, and I'd be with him.
Okay. My concern is he's got more time to recover, hasn't he, in a straight like Sandown, and particularly in a straight like Newbury, as compared turning for home on the old course at Cheltenham. And I just wonder whether he might just run out of real estate. I think he's a very good. I think he's a tremendously talented horse.
Yeah, it's possible. You could be right, but I think you'll probably know your fate. But you're right about Copic de Boer. That is capable of blowing out too. You know what I mean? He's not absolute certainty. Like, I do think Lulamba will be forced to second. I wouldn't say the same about Copic de Boer.
Okay. And Ruby, if you're riding Copic de Boer, do you reckon would that be a concern, or would there be so much work done at home you'd be going in there, don't care if he's run once, twice, 10
I've watched
times?
him. No, obviously, I agree with Johnny and Lydia. Of course, you would love if he'd had more runs, but he doesn't. I watched him in Punchestown just after the Dublin Racing Festival, and he jumped well. I thought he was much better at Fairyhouse last week. I thought he absolutely flew around there, and I rode him work in between. And I'm not talking about this year's champion hurdle, but he probably is a genuine champion hurdle horse. I don't think any of the opposition are. I think he's the best horse in the race.
He looks like the most natural 2-mile chaser as well.
You know he's jumping fences though, right?
Yeah, but it's still the ability that you could think, if you took him out of that race, what else could he win?
Yeah.
I'd actually think, you could stick him straight in the champion hurdle, bang, it could happen for him. Whereas I don't think any of the others would win the champion hurdle. And you might say this year's champion hurdle is a bit weak. I just think, on average, you could stick him into any champion hurdle lineup and he wouldn't be out of place.
So really classy.
I think he's a very, very good horse. I think he'll win.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's a very good race, though. I think both Lulamba and Romeo Culio are really good horses.
They are, but I think Cargeese and Irish Panther will get them on their head.
Yeah.
I think Copic de Boer will be sat behind them hard on it.
Right.
It's a very good point. I've forgotten Irish Panthers there as well. Absolutely, yeah. So it's going to be they're going to be tested really hard early, I think.
Tony?
Yeah, I thought Cargeese, she's just a favourite of mine. I think she's very good and very tough. I thought her, I'd be worried
Off in
about...
front?
Oh yeah, I'd say she'll force it, and she's not just a pacemaker now, she stays there. You know, is she one of the very few? Did she beat Lossiemouth? Did she know?
Danny, was that her?
Was it her? I think it...
6, Lossiemouth 7, is she?
I'm not sure, I think she did in something.
Wasn't it
was she the mare that-
Galamarceau?
Yes.
Galamarceau.
Yeah.
Danny stitched
Oh,
up.
Galamarceau, was it?
You remember
She was
Danny?
the same
You remember
type.
Danny? You're Danny. You locked them up. You remember that, all right? You just couldn't remember what horse. You had to get it in anyway.
No, but no, I just think Cargeese is very tough, and she jumps well and has the usual £7 allowance. I don't know. It is quite a tough race between the two of them in Leopardstown, but I bet that she'll come out of it better than a big raw horse like Romeo Culio. So,
Okay.
I'm going for Cargeese as a nice little bet.
Yeah. Cargeese,
Copic
Copic
de
de
Boer,
Boer,
quite strongly.
Lulamba and Copic de Boer. Grant, brilliant. And strong, and you sound strong as well about Copic, yeah. Grant, okay, perfect. Fred Winter next. Saratoga tops the market. Hasn't really been missed by the racing public, I think you could say. Not exactly the most secret plot ever. Ruby, I know you weren't convinced that he had much up his sleeve back on his last performance at Nice.
Just thought when they got at the back of the last, when he got there, he had to win and he didn't.
Yeah.
And handicapper hasn't missed him. 130 in the UK, 125 here. I thought he might get 124 here off that run when you added up the weights and measures, but they got 125 and they gave him 5 more in the UK. He could well go and win it, but 4-1 in a what's going to be a 20, what's the max, 22 is it?
Yeah.
I definitely have better odds than that now.
Yeah, and is there anything that you have your eye on that you think is a sneaky one? Or?
I thought Winston Jr. had a chance, but there's talk of him maybe running in the Triumph, Highland Crystal, and I had one somewhere further down. Paddy had a big price last night that I seem to have lost this morning.
The problem with this race is it's been thrown up in the air, hasn't it, with Narciso Haas having exited from the Triumph.
The horse won the Adonis last week.
Oh,
Jane Williams' horse.
La Luna Artiste.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, La Luna Artiste. I thought he was in this, maybe he's not.
She is.
She's
She is, yeah.
in
Yeah.
the betting, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought she absolutely bolted up in the Adonis,
Yeah.
and I thought she'd be the one for me now.
Yeah. Johnny, do you have a...
Yeah, it's an open race, obviously, and there's like quite a lot of plots in it. Like Saratoga is one of them, so is maybe the likes of Munsif. I personally don't really fancy Saratoga myself. I don't know why. It was kind of a staying horse on the flat on heavy ground. This will be a lot quicker test here. I'm not so sure it has as much in hand as people think. The one I was looking at, I noticed it running in the race, is a horse called Mustang Du Broy, a horse of Henderson's. Finished third against older horses in a Grade 2 race against Club the Raven Cocktail Blue in Kempton the other day. I thought it ran really well. It was backed off the board too, 7-1 to 2-1, and finished up short price favourite. Was just got a bit out of its ground and just kind of slightly hampered it. Finished off nicely, I thought. Like it's in off 1-2-9. Manlaga is another Henderson horse. Like JP will quite have a big say in this race. He's got Saratoga, Manlaga, and this horse as well. But I thought this horse is every bit as good a chance as the ones that are around 8 and 9 to 1. It's probably double the odds. I think that is a squeak, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Lydia, you've...
I'll tell you what, when is this, about 6 o'clock on the Tuesday?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, that's grand. Tony?
Yeah, I love Highland Crystal. I think it's tough and a great pedigree out of a half-sister to Envoy Allen and that. Yeah. So, you know, if I was having 10 each way, that's what I'd do. I have no strong opinion in the race.
Yeah.
Only I'm quite impressed with that filly.
Grand. So Highland Crystal. Yours
A Luna Artiste.
A Luna Artiste.
I'll go Mustang Du Broy, yeah.
And Mustang Du Broy. Great.
And no clue.
And no clue, great. Right.
One honest person.
Champion Hurdle is next, so we won't have the big Constitution Hill debate. There's no point. Unfortunately, not running after Connections decided to go for the flat campaign, but we still do have some classy contenders here. There's Brighter Days Ahead. There's possibly Lossy Mouth, the new line.
Paddy,
we go chronological.
I skipped the Ultima. Sorry, producer Mark. Let's go on to the Ultima then next. Yeah, sorry. The Irish don't win this race anyway. Maybe that's why I skipped it.
Subliminal.
Yeah, Lydia, let's start with you on the Ultima.
Well, it looks like Iroquo's going here, and isn't this his chance? Isn't this the moment that we see what Iroquo can do? We saw it to a great degree in the Grand National last time, where I think his stamina ultimately was a little bit tested at the age potentially that he was. But we know he handles Cheltenham. This test is going to be ideal for him. We know he's a very good horse, and we haven't always seen what he's been capable of, and I think he's going to win it, isn't he? I think I thought Leave of Absence ran very encouragingly. If I was looking for one at a bigger price, how he ran in the Denman would be interesting, but Iroquo for me. I mean,
Iroquo, straightforward.
Finally.
Yeah. Okay. Johnny?
Yeah, I'd be concerned. The ones I'd consider are Jaguar and Iroquo, for sure. If Iroquo does turn up here, and it looks like he might. Sometime I talked he might go into the Gold Cup or something like that. I heard that. But if he does run here, he's going to have top weight, but he's a deserved top weight at the same time. Jaguar has to prove stamina, where Iroquo doesn't. They're two smart horses at the same time. And I do think this is a weakish race myself.
Yeah.
I do think when you go down past the first 2 or 3 in the bet, and I don't really fancy a load of the horses under them in the market, and I do think they won't get a result here, the bookies, and one of these 2 horses will win. If Iroquo didn't run, I'd go Jaguar, and if the 2 of them, I think I'd go Iroquo.
Okay, so it's sort of one where don't be worried about top weight and that, because the class will be...
Yeah, like I'm thinking that your man would be able to carry 12 stone in a race like this. Yeah, he just might. Because I don't think there's not that many lurkers that have a lot in hand as far as I could see. There's a lot of exposed horses in this race.
Okay, Ruby?
Yeah, I'd be with Iroquo as well. And it'll end up theoretically a limited handicap. Like Kibuekwa needs 13 to come out to get in. He's carrying 10-10. So, like, what's Iroquo going to be giving away? £18 in and around, maybe 19 at the most. So, I'd be with Iroquo.
Yeah. Tony,
I
consensus?
just have a fancy here for a horse called Wendigo.
Yeah.
Jamie Snowden's horse. Wasn't he very unlucky in the Albert Bartlett last year? Did a loose horse or something?
He was.
The big Westerner wiped him out.
wiped him out. Yeah.
He's also in
And
the brand advisory, so you'd have.
yeah, but you'd imagine he'll go here getting 10 pounds off him instead of carrying levels. Maybe that I just thought this race would suit him better. But if Wendigo runs in this, I'm going to have a few quid each way on him.
Grant. Okay, so Wendigo, Iroko, and Iroko, unless Iroko doesn't run, then
Go
Jaguar.
for JP anyway, yeah.
Grant, okay. Perfect. Now, repeat. Champion hurdle next, right? Tony. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Tony, any word from the brother whether Lassie Mouth's going to go here or not?
Sure, it doesn't matter in my opinion.
I know what Ruby's going to say. You're going for the race that you're going to be the easiest one
yeah,
to win.
well, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't think she win anyway, so I don't know what they're crowing about. And I think there's holes in them all. The new line, aside from just this plain fall jumping in up Newcastle, his jumping has been a bit dicey. Even 2 hurls before, I think, didn't he go to wobble out? Lassie Mouth, in my opinion, great filly, just never saw her as a champion hurdler. That's my. Then you have Golden Ace, who I'm starting to call Mrs. Reliable.
Yeah.
Every time she's there to do, she picks up the pieces every time. Everyone says there's excuses and all, but she's gone to Cheltenham twice. She's won. She's met all these a few times. When she hasn't beaten them, she's been right beside them. So I think she's the reliable one, and Brighter Days Ahead, I think he'll win. So I think the 2 fillies, Brighter Days Ahead will beat Golden Ace, and I couldn't care less if Lassie Mouth runs or not, because I don't think she'll be in it.
Yeah,
that's my opinion, and everybody seems to think she's the greatest. I just haven't seen this greatest that they all see.
I think they just want her to run in the champion hurdle so we can find out, don't they?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Why are we bothering holding the festival?
Really, there is to Tony's point, there is an argument, say, about Golden Ace, for example, that last year Golden Ace only won because the race fell apart during the race. This year the race fell apart before the race.
Yeah.
So can Golden Ace not just turn up and do the business again? Or?
Oh, she most certainly can. I mean, she beat Brighter Days Ahead and Jade de Grugy in a mare's novice hurdle. She held off whatever was left standing in the fight in 5th and won a champion hurdle, but she's won them all, and she is a rock solid mare. Slightly different prep this year in that she didn't go to Wincanton after Christmas, whereas last year she did. But I don't know, would that be a plus or a minus for her, but she's a very reliable filly, a very good filly, and she got a terrific reception last year when she won, which was wonderful to see. Genuine West Country racing fans jumping up and down in the stand when Jeremy Scott had a winner.
Amazing. Like, Jeremy Scott has done a fantastic job. The jockey has done a fantastic job, and the owner insisted that she run in the champion hurdle last year. Like, I mean, everyone has put their piece in with this mare, and she's a great story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She's a great story. But I agree with Tony. Now, I don't know where Lassie Mouth's going to run. I always saw her as a 2.5 mile mare. I haven't said any different all along. That's why I do think she is. I think she is a better mare. When you drop the pace just a fraction, I think she gets on the bridling, looks happier over 2.5. Brighter Days Ahead, I think would be very reliant on the ground. I think at Cheltenham she'd want a good cut in the ground to be fast enough. And that leaves
So is that the thing with Brighter Days Ahead, underperforming at Cheltenham? Like?
No, the mare's novice was too slowly run, and last year she wouldn't have won going to the first hurdle.
Yeah, Gordon said there was a knee issue afterwards, wasn't there?
Yeah.
She had an operation.
I didn't think that she got beaten 19 or 20 lengths
There
last
was a
year.
knee issue, a need to go a lot slower in Leopardstown the previous run. I'd say that, isn't that what happened? That it was a fantastic performance in Leopardstown the previous run, but I'd say it left Cheltenham out the window.
Yeah, and maybe she will be, but I think on soft ground she will grind them into the ground. Whereas on quick ground, I'm just not so sure. On dry ground, I'm just not so sure. And the new line, I do agree that there is the odd issue here, jumping wise. He does have a step in him. He can step. He has 8 hurdles to jump. Just hope when he does step, he gets his 2 front feet over the top bar. But I think he could be the best horse.
And being the weatherman as well, I've just had a look at my phone there, and there's literally no rain for Cheltenham right now.
Look
up to the
different
first
app, you'll
race.
find loads of it.
I know that a bit, but my one is the best one of ours.
Johnny,
telling us he knows the weather.
Make some sense of this for us, Johnny.
Yeah, look, I think I agree with Ruby. I think Brighter Days Ahead is very ground dependent. I think Golden Aces has a lot of luck on her side to win races. She said the 2 major ones fall in 2 different races. Surely that's not going to happen a third time. if I had to back one horse at the meeting, a 2-1 or bigger, I'd go with the New Line. I think he's an absolute stone wall bear if something goes wrong. Now, there is a step, but if you're depending on a horse to fall and you're getting, you know what I mean, that's the only thing that can do you. I think if he avoids bad luck, he's a good thing in this race. Like last year, he did have a real grab at the last. He was poxed not to fall, was
Poxed
it?
at the second last.
Last year.
Yeah, the second last as well as the
Was
last.
he? Yeah.
Oh, you can only half see it because he's in behind the way the camera angle is. Like, but he wouldn't. It's just downwards.
Yeah, and he was on the way down before he got to the horse.
Yeah.
But
That's
very
his
much at
trajectory
the
is-
last anyway.
Yeah.
But he was a bit unlucky that Constitution fell in Newcastle because he wasn't going to make the run. He's definitely a horse not suited to. Like I can see him like tanking coming down the last year, needing a good jump, and that'll do him. I can't fancy anything. Like Panaris is 8-1 in this race. There's nothing in it. And I think if all he has to do is avoid misfortune, and he's probably my best bet at the meeting anyway.
Wow, okay. Lydia, wasn't expecting that.
No, he does have to avoid misfortune. I am also slightly wary about his jumping, and I'm not sure that he. I think if the others turn up, I think this is quite trappy, and I wouldn't be so confident that even if he does negotiate all the hurdles successfully, that he is definitely the best horse in the race. At the weights, I'd say that Brighter Days Ahead is. I take the point about quicker ground maybe. But I think I'm inclined to forgive her run last time. She was never, as Ruby said, she was never going right from the start. I mean, King of Kingsfield, they were looking behind to see where she was. They couldn't even execute the tactics they were trying to execute on the day because she just wasn't there. And the time before at Cheltenham, when she was beaten by Golden Ace in the Dawn Run, I do think that was, A, she was conceding weight to that winner. B, the winner we've seen is very good. And it was just a tactical mess up, I think, really. I think I'd probably be inclined towards Brighter Days Ahead because I think she is, given her mare's allowance and given I'm inclined to agree to forgive the Champion Hurdle last time, I think she's the best horse in the race at the weights. I think that Lossiemouth will find the Champion Hurdle a little bit too quick for her. I still would like to see her turn up and try because it's racing, and if we have horses just separating from each other all the time, then the point of the sport is lost. It's about competition, and I realise when you own a horse or train a horse, you want to win a race. At the same time, there has to be some sort of pact with the punter, with the enthusiast, the fan, that actual top class competitive racing is going to happen. So therefore, I really want her to run. If you're having a bet right now, though, I think the horse that is solid, I suspect one of those three, one of them above Golden Ace in the market won't run, possibly Lossiemouth won't run. You've got question marks about all of them, the things that might go wrong, and the horse that will run her race is Golden Ace. Now, people cleverer than me have put her up at 14-1 to make this argument, but if you fancy a horse that is going to finish in the first three, surely she does. So I think she will run her race. I am hoping and expecting that Brighter Days Ahead is just a class above.
Okay. So Golden Ace, Brighter Days Ahead, Nap,
The New
Line,
yeah.
and Ruby, depends
Line.
on the ground. New Line?
Yeah.
New Line as well. So split panel. Right, the plate is next. Madara, top of the market here, possesses pretty strong course and distance form, Johnny.
Yeah, he has a good chance of the night catch and run against Isom in Kempton there lately. Again, this was a race I thought the ones up at the top looked kind of standouts. McClory is a good chance. He's in here. I think he's coming in off 1-3-3. He started off in Thurles in the Novice Chase. Then he ran a reasonably good race against Jacob's Ladder Inferior. So then his next two runs wouldn't be wonderful at 2 miles, but I'd say you'll see a better horse here at 2.5 again. He ran here last year in the county hurdle. I think did he get injured and he finished nowhere near, but I wouldn't really
Finished
mind.
last.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I think he broke a pelvis or something. Did he? I think somebody told me that. Yeah. Look, I think he's a good chance. And if I had to pick one outside of the outside, it'd be Slacey. But I think Madara and McClory are cut above some of these, and I think I'll take a chance on McClory.
Okay, Slade Steele is the one you said possibly on the outsiders.
Yeah,
but okay.
that's not a big
McClory,
outside. It's only 12-1, but it's the only horse down below the top two I'd be worried about if I was going with one of the favourites.
Okay, Lydia.
I like Madara. He's got the form from the Paddy Power Gold Cup from last season, and even better in the December Gold Cup. Clearly, there's been some sort of setback, and he's caught the eye both times that we've seen him so far this season. So I think, he's found in the market already. I thought Waterford Whispers might run well. I thought he shaped quite well at the DRF. If he runs Serie, I think he has got other entries as well, but I quite like the way he looks rusty. He kind of landed flat-footed 2 out, and lost a bit of ground. Then he immediately made it back up again. And then I thought that the lack of the recent run told right late on near the line. And he's finished second in the Martin Pipe. I still think he has got potential to fulfil over fences, and so I think he is still better than his mark.
Okay, Tony?
Henry has spoken up, Waterford Whispers there, that he's come back from having lost his form and he's coming back to himself. And Mag has blazed the way, who won at Cheltenham there in early December, you know, so that's a top class run. I know Danny is very excited for him to take his chance in this race. So he's a winner around the track and he thinks he'll definitely be in the money. So each way blazed the way, and I'm hearing about Waterford Whispers coming back into form.
I like the sound of that blazed away, yeah?
Yeah, I quite like that race. And Holokia has since come out at Windsor and run really well. I think there's some substance to that form.
Okay, so blazed away.
25 to 1.
25 to 1, yeah.
I'm going to put it Waterford Whispers.
Waterford
just
Whispers,
because
yeah,
Madar
okay,
has been
yeah.
well found.
Okay. I never asked Ruby.
Waterford Whispers to me as well.
Yeah.
Only 4 points higher than that run in the Martin Pipe, and it was second to Better Days Ahead. That was off 133. He's in off 137 here, which is 7 higher than Waterford Whispers' Irish mark, but I still think it's a fair mark for him. Only worry I'd have with blazed away, Tony, he's coming back down to 2.5 after winning over 3 1/4.
Mm.
Isn't he going to go for something else? Like is he in
The Ultima
in the
anyway,
Ultima? Yeah.
He's
in a few races, blazed. But
sorry, I missed him in the earlier. It's
He's
the
in the
Ultima he's
Ultima.
running in.
The Ultima,
yeah,
okay,
Right.
grand.
Yeah. Sorry, I called him the wrong race.
Jeez, make
He's
sure
still a certainty.
Make sure you remember that. Sorry, at this stage he's already won.
Yeah, he'd be dried off at this stage.
Yeah. So, Grant, we just insert that blazed away in the Ultima. That's the race I forgot as well.
We can do that.
I forgot the race. You forgot the horse. It's fine. So, Rue Waterford Whispers, and you were McClory.
McClory,
and you were Waterford Whispers.
I was, yeah.
And you'd mentioned Waterford Whispers, so it's literally three Waterford Whispers probably. Yeah, perfect. Okay, great. National Chase is the final race of day one, and it's a handicap, of course. Now, Back Me or Sack Me was very good at the Dublin Race Festival, but not the most trustworthy, Ruby.
No, a bit in and out. Has won a good pot. Won it off 125, £10 higher for it. Beat win some, lose some. Had been disappointing in the Leopardstown Chase. Should stay, but showed good form at 2.5, and you're up here now to 3 miles and 6. So completely different contest for Back Me or Sack Me. I thought weighed out, crying out for a trip. Looks.
Show me about the fences.
Yeah, but
He's a bit risky, isn't he?
he's a bit cowardly maybe at times, but I think 3 miles and 6, be going a bit slower. I think it's right up his street. So I thought he looked like he wanted 5 miles and 6 when he won here in November time. So I have no worries about him staying, and he'd be the one for me.
Right, naps of day one. Tony, start with you.
Have we a nap? I don't think I have a nap, only that will say brighter days ahead.
Brighter days ahead in the Champion Hurdle. Granted, very, very enthusiastic there about your nap.
No, I'll have one later.
I know. Lydia.
Iroko for the
Iroko for the Ultima, okay.
the new line with the Champion.
New line, Champion Hurdle.
Kopek the board.
And Kopek to board in the Arkle. Okay, brilliant. Okay, we're having the shortest of short ad breaks now, and we'll be back for day two right after this.
What, Crouchy, let's have a selfie while we're looking dapper.
Not without the GC. Oh, my hair.
Here we go. Everyone say Cheltenham! Is that my horse running? Yeah,
I need lip gloss.
Get a completely free bet on any race on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday at Cheltenham. Paddy Power.
Well, welcome back. Producer Mark has asked me to remind you to subscribe to the Paddy Power Racing YouTube channel, because there's loads more good stuff coming there, including daily Cheltenham tipping shows recorded after declarations with Ruby Walsh and Rory Delargy, and also daily preview shows with Harry Cobden too. So make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel. Okay, no more messing around. We're going straight into day two, which of course starts off with the Turners Novice Hurdle at 120. Again, another wide open Novice Hurdle. Mighty Park and No Drama this end are at the top of the market, and according to the respective teams, this will be like Faheen and Denman going up against each other. So it should be a cracker of a race to kick off day two. I know from up in the ante, you tipped him up, Johnny, so we start with you.
Yeah, I did, but I have a feeling he's going to be in the wrong race for me anyway. You know, it looks like he's going to go for the Supreme. That's what the betting is. I only can go by the betting in the markets, and there's usually as good a guide as anything anyway, rather than, you know, but it looks like he's going for the 2 mile race.
Is that because he's avoiding the other fella?
No, I just think they think he can win either race, as far as that seems to be the impression I'm getting. Look, I think he's definitely going for the harder race if he goes for 2 mile, but that wouldn't mean he wouldn't win either one. I don't know. Look, if he doesn't run in this race, I still
this
think
is Mighty Park we're talking
yes,
about.
Yes, yeah. I still think No Drama this end could be vulnerable. He's probably a good horse, probably a very good horse, really. But I think something will beat him at the same time. And he smacks the like Hermé Allen and Brave Men's Game to me. He's that kind of a horse. His form is, I think his best form is against Irish horses in Cheltenham, back in Cheltenham. I've beaten Heads Up and the third horse, King's Bucks. I'd say that's probably his best form. I mean, he beat nothing, Blue Room in Sandown, and he beat terrible horses in the shallow hole. That was a very bad race. I think it was anyway. Very weak race for a Grade 1. He's coming. He is a good horse, no question about it, but I think something will beat him. What will beat him? Bar Mighty Park, I'm not sure. I think maybe another Mullins horse, maybe start Tudor or Sober maybe, but I have a feeling no Drama Descent will come up short.
Okay, Grant, Ruby, do you know, is there something in that Mighty Park? I know it's...
No,
you don't know
I know
definitively,
if you handed me the declarations on whatever morning, I'd put him in this race. I think it's the easier race. I think the Supreme is way deeper. I think he's no drama this end to beat here. He's one run over hurdles, which is not great in the Supreme. Wouldn't be as bad in a Turner's.
Why, just because it's slower?
Yeah, going a fraction slower. What's his name? 5 for 3.
Galileo.
Yeah,
Not that one.
Not
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
I just think that horse has with little experience, and that's nothing against Mighty Park's jumping. He's a brilliant jumper. He loves taking on hurdles, but just in the Supreme, you have to go and jump all 8. Whereas in the Turners, once you jump the last 3, he'd be thereabouts.
And also, he's never been put under pressure at his hurdles. I mean, he was ushered into the lead at the outset when he ran. Now, he did set a good pace, and I'm not saying he's not a very, very good horse, and clearly the comparisons with Faheen mean that everybody's very, very keen on him. This is the time of year, though, everyone's comparing them to good horses.
I know. But we've heard it before, and they've landed before as well, you know?
Well, I mean, it depends. If it's unusual behaviour, you might sit up and take notice. It kind of depends on how it's come about, doesn't it? And this was Willie Mullins and his stable tour, as I understand it. So you might give it a bit more credence than you might do otherwise. So I think that he's going to be put under pressure at his hurdles if he goes to the Supreme, which is exactly why I agree with you. I'd go for the Turners.
That's still be my opinion. I do like No Drama this end. I thought he looked a fabulous specimen even in the parade ring at Cheltenham in November time. He's a decent enough running last year, Cheltenham bumper. I think he's a very, very good horse, No Drama this end. But I slightly agree with Johnny. Could see him winning a Gold Cup down the line, but do I see him winning the Turners? I don't know. Maybe not. I think King Rascal Grey, if he went here, would be a big runner too. But again, he could easily end up in the Supreme as well. But I do think Mighty Park or King Rascal Grey have to line up here.
So is it a case of like Willie Mullins has no outstanding novices, but he's got loads of really good ones?
I'd say he has 4 or 5 very good horses. I'd say Leader Dalier, Sober. If you switched him on, then he was definitely going to jump them. Actually, he jammed on at the first and punches down, but he was very good after that.
Can't have Soper. That was that race that he won. Just
I'd say he's a decent enough horse all the same.
Leader
Dalier, King Rascal Grey, Mighty Park. I'd say they're good horses in there.
Talk is suddenly come into this race as well. He's a short for this race now, as he is for the Supreme.
I'd have had him in this race all along.
It's 50-50 whether he's going to be a big runner in the year too if he did land in this one.
Ruby's made the argument, hasn't it? You've made the argument that with the jumping question mark again, that the sort of who was that horse of Cheveley Park's that Willie Mullins ran in this rather, and everyone thought would run in the Supreme because and the jumping was the reason that he went this way.
Switch back. It's just. It sounds like nothing, but when you're riding a horse 1 mile an hour is a big difference. And I do think Talk to Talk, for me personally, would be a massive runner here.
Okay. Tony?
Yeah, I think Talk to Talk is going to run in the 2 mile, but I agree with everyone. I think that this is his race. But I think he's going to run the Supreme, that's my belief, and No Drama this end. There's nothing there to beat him. And it's very interesting. Either they're all over in Willie's and they don't know, or else they have a bunch of nice horses without having a real one.
I think it's that.
And that's what I think it is. I mean, every other season in Willie's, they knew early December, the hot pot was odds on, and Julie won in March. This year now, when you go over there, I mean, every second lad I meet has a different one. This is the one, this is the one. There's about 6 different ones. So that tells me that there's nothing superior, and I'd say they have a bunch of beautiful horses without having a real one. So No Drama this end, to me, would look quite a good thing.
I suppose the exception on that logic could be Mighty Park, because
I
we've
was
only
about
seen
to
it
say,
once.
is Mighty Park the better than Ruby, from what you see over there?
I know. Willie loves him and so does David. I've never sat on fine big horse, light enough horse, but fine big horse and covers plenty of ground. The last morning I was there, Mark was riding him work and he was delighted with him. But Yeah, he could be, but you've only seen him once.
Yeah.
Patrick was saying that a lot of those horses needed their first run this season. Is that right?
I would have said definitely the ones around at Christmas. Leader Dalier definitely needed the run. Dr. de Menil, although he disappointed again after that. I would say a lot of horses, did take a first run, which came in December rather than mid to late November.
So that could be muddy in the waters as well.
Yeah. Okay, so Turners, we have Talk the Talk if it runs.
I'll go Mighty Park.
Mighty Park.
Mighty Park would be one if he runs.
Yeah.
If he gets into this race, he's number one in my mind, but I don't know if he'd be there. King Rasco Grey, Talk the Talk. I'd be playing any of those who line up in this race.
I mean, traditionally, you don't want to go anywhere near a second or third or fourth or fifth or sixth string of Willie Mullins's in these kind of races. It's the first string and the first string only. Obviously, the JP McManus angle can make that more confusing sometimes. I just got an observation. I would, of the two potential Gordon Elliott horses running here, Ballyfad and Scarlet Hustle, I prefer the latter. Scarlet Hustle is the horse that won after Talk the Talk tipped up at Christmas. And I think Talk the Talk would have beaten him, but I do think that Scarlet Hustle had quite a bit left and pulled and hit the line quite strongly. I'm slightly against Ballyfad on the old course because of how much and how consistently he adjusts right, and I think that will be a disadvantage.
Okay, Tony? You're going with old.
I'm sticking with No Drama This End.
No Drama This End. Yeah,
I think the Irish novices are all in such a bunch. I don't think that there's a real one among them.
Perfect, right. Brown Advisory next. Final Demand is a favourite. Lydia, you've been putting the boot into Final Demand a little bit. Is he the rightful favourite?
I don't think so, no. Not at the moment. Can I ask a question of Ruby? One of the things that's been with Yakety Yak circuit, theory about what happened at the DRF is that the horse might have bled. Did he bleed?
No.
Right, there we go. It's just it's good to ask the question because then you can get the answer.
Not to my knowledge, no. So that's I'm speaking honestly. But I didn't like Final Demand at Christmas.
No, you didn't, no.
Final Demand came down the hill in Limerick at Christmas with two horses on his tail that should have been jumping the fifth last fence when he was coming down the hill. I thought the signs were there then that he was underperforming. I know Patrick said he coasted home. Fine, but to me they shouldn't have been in the picture.
Agreed.
Going back then to the champion hurl, how do you explain the new one beats a 140 and a 150 horse and Trials Day and he's favourite? I mean, the bare run of the Trials Day run a month ago, he shouldn't be in the betting, not to talk about favourite.
That was a sprint. I know what you're saying, but he left the two horses in front of him, and when Nicky's horse got pulled up, Harry Skelton's never took it off the two in front of him. That was
He gave him a fair few boots after the last and he didn't go away.
I thought he pulled him up to jump the last. He reminded me of you heading off down into the corner and popping him up over it.
And winning.
And then winning. Right? He had to give him one tear. Actually surprised me how quickly he gave him back on the bridle, the new one. The actual injection of speed he had.
The new line.
He didn't. The new line. He didn't impress me. That's why I'm amazed at him being favourite of the champion hurl. Anyway, back to the second.
Okay, right.
But Final Demand on that day, talking of that race, he went from travelling really well to nothing. And I do worry about the way that Cade Dorothy put it to him. So it's either that Final Demand, something's not right with him, and I noted that Willie Mullins was talking about changing a few things at home. Yeah, I mean, I know you've been away.
He was out in the gallop, he's putting him out in the field and changing riders, working and things like that. But you're grasping at straws, which Willie does. Like, you got to try everything, try something. But I do think there's a huge engine in there, and I wouldn't knock that novice hurdle form. Everyone is saying, that novice hurdle now from last year with Gordon's horse.
Yeah.
The Yellow Clay.
Yeah.
The Yellow Clay and Final Demand. Again, going back to the new line, is that form any good? I don't think that Willie and Gordon can be that far wrong with the two horses. They both love those horses.
Yeah.
I think the Yellow Clay got an absolute grueler in Navan on his first start this year with only two hurdles down the straight in Navan, and he just got emptied and he hasn't gotten over it. And I just Final Demand, I love what I saw in Navan. I didn't like what I saw in Limerick. I didn't like anything I saw in Leopardstown either. So it depends on what Final Demand you get. The horse that was in Navan looked a good horse. The horse we saw in the twice since hasn't.
So if my view was that there's either something wrong with him, something's not quite right at the moment,
He's not jumping,
or he isn't very brave because when Cade Dorothy was putting it to him at fences, he backed out of that quite quickly. I wonder about that as well.
Yeah, I wonder what's something catching him, because he is brave. Even the first morning schools, And again, we watch Malmesbury School, and you look at him on the track, you're thinking, are they the same horses? And he got it together the last day, but Final Demand, I don't know what it is, but I didn't like him his last 2 starts.
Okay, so who else then?
I did like Kay Doughty.
Yeah.
Pair of cheap pieces on him, and I think he was Dawson from the third last fence. I think he let Western Fold get as close as he got. I do like Kay Doughty. Kit's Bull jumps a bit to his right. Could be an issue for him maybe, but I just think that Kay Doughty, he looked a good horse in Navan when he fell his first run over hurdles, and the penny is just starting to drop at him. He's starting to jump better, and he stays. I'd say he stay forever.
Yeah, okay. So Kate Doughty for Ruby, maybe. Lydia?
I like the Big Westerner. I
Big
think
Westerner, yeah.
she hasn't had the set of circumstances that will show her in her best light, which is a proper test of stamina, which the brand advisor would be. It's half a furlong longer than it used to be, isn't it? Because they've changed the start. It used to be 3 mile half a furlong. It's now 3 mile 1 because of that slightly awkward shimmy they had to do. Anything that puts an extra accent on stamina, I think, is a good thing for her. She and Wendigo did get in each other's way, where she took Wendigo's ground, but they both got shuffled back behind horses. Wendigo then stumbled in the Albert Bartlett last season. I think he would have been a close-up third, but for that. So I can see him running well in this race. And if he were to go to the Ultima, he would have a great chance. But I suspect they're going to come for the brand advisory. But I prefer the Big Westerner. And I love the way she attacks her fences. She really seems to enjoy jumping. And she's one of those mares that really has taken to fences. And she was a good hurdler. I think she'll be a much better chaser. And 3 miles, a proper test of stamina, is going to see improved form from her.
Okay, Big Westerner. Tony?
Yeah, just going with the Big Westerner as well. I don't like Final Demand. I'm not saying he's no good, but I don't like him as a 72 favourite for this race. He failed last year, and I think he'll fail this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the Big Westerner, only because the ground is, I think she's very ground dependent. I do think she's an Irish.
She'll want what? Soft ground?
Oh, softer the better, yeah. I think even good to soft won't be any good to her.
It's good to soft in the Albert Bartlett.
It
though,
was,
wasn't
but I think she wants it even softer. I'd say she'll run even better if the ground.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's probably her best run. But it's still. I listened to Darrell O'Keefe that he's going to be riding her. He reckons that. I'd say there's a chance he could even ride cocktail diving if the ground is good.
Yeah,
you know, if he comes in here, or good to soft or whatever. But she's a very good horse, though, Big Westerner. And I do think the form of Big Westerner and Wendigo is the form to look at in this race. I'd go with Wendigo each way. I'm not saying he'll win, but I think he's a very solid horse. I think a good horse will take him out, a real top horse.
Yeah.
But if it's not, if it's just an average running of the race, it's definitely a competitive one. Is there a Gold Cup winner in it? I wouldn't be so sure, you know.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't a really top race, I do think he's a chance of maybe winning it. I do think he'll definitely be placed though, Wendigo. I couldn't have Final Demand in my mind. The way he folded the last day, I definitely couldn't have him anyway.
Okay, a bit of a negative vibe of Final Demand. So Wendigo, Kate Doughty, Big Westerner. Perfect. Okay, on to the formerly known as the Coral Cup. The Cup. So is it actually called the Cup?
MGM.
BetMGM Cup. Okay, there you go. It's 10-1 the field, so it's wide open. You've a race all
I'm
fair,
passing
Johnny.
here, yeah,
come
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Does anyone have a strong fancy for this?
I think Johnny's very wise.
Yeah. Ruby?
I did. The little horse that won the Red Mills, Stormheart.
Stormheart.
Yeah, I think if he runs here, he's a massive chance. The yellow clay is in it, but I think Stormheart at 151, 11.9 is plenty of weight, but I think he's a cracking little horse. He was a good juvenile. He beat Work Ahead in a sprint in the Red Mills hurl. He won over 2.5 at Limerick. I'd like him in that.
Tony?
No.
Nothing. Okay, Stormheart. There you go. Unanimous decision, I think. We've got the cross country then. We've got Stumptown bidding to go back to back, but there's some pretty strong contenders here, especially the one that won the Paddy Power, the Favre de Champtou or whatever. Who wants to start here? Tony, you start.
I think this is the race that I also wanted to skip.
Well, that's you know what? You don't start then. That's grand. You stay there, relax
Yeah,
for the
I
moment.
think
Lydia,
I'll-
you can start.
I suspect the Favre de Champtou will go off favourite, and I think he should do, and I think he's likely to win it. And if Stumptown does run, then he's going to force a lot of horses out of the handicap,
Yeah.
and we could have horses after they've been declared not actually being eligible to run. So
And does that actually help Favre de Champtou then?
it's more that I'm just warning people that they need to make sure.
What's the cut-off rating?
Is it if you're £15 below Stumptown? I think that's right. You're ineligible to run, and I'm not sure that all bookmakers are consistent about what they're going to be doing with that. In this instance, as I understand it, I think Paddy Power treat it as a non-runner. The horse would have to be declared
Yeah.
and then eliminated, but I don't think all bookmakers are being consistent, so be careful if you're fancying, like Jarive de l'Est, or horses like that. You need to be careful about that if you're having a bet.
Right, Champion Chase is next. Tony, you're on the hook here now.
Aye.
So this is basically a graveyard for punters, this one. In recent years, it seems like the shorter, the less likely it is to win. But you think Mashbury can get it done this year?
He's the best horse anyway. And, they've come up with this theory now that the wings, the cheek pieces have,
They gave him
changed
wings.
on.
Yeah, they did.
They gave him wings, is right. That, like, he's now jumping. So, in my opinion, he is the best horse. Barry's done a great job with Marine National, and it's been unlucky with that fall wobble around thing where he ran on then to finish second. And nothing else counts, Illitate Tompers, Ruby might explain his funny run in Sandown.
Ascot.
Ascot, I mean. It's a straight match, Margeborough and Marine National, and I think Margeborough is going to come out on top. And if they're right about the cheek pieces, he's jumping us together now, and he's a way superior horse then.
Okay, and is this a ground one, Lydia? I mean, because obviously Marine National has great Cheltenham record and all that kind of stuff. And
I'm not particularly bothered about the ground. I'm less bothered about the ground with Marine National than Barry Connell potentially is. I was interested that Barry Connell's now talking about cheek pieces for Marine National, which
It's a surprise, wasn't it?
yeah,
which is worrying, isn't it? When you can kind of see the path towards cheek pieces, you're kind of like, okay, cheek pieces. There, it's kind of like, oh, the head carriage isn't an issue, jumping isn't an issue. Oh, cheek pieces. And he's saying that it'll help the horse concentrate in the early part of the race. That to me it seemed to be a negative. So I put up Mashbury at 6s, and I think he's the likeliest winner of the race. I think you do have that question mark about how his jumping fell apart in the Arkle. That is something that is still there, but he has won a triumph. And it did look as though the cheek pieces plus the ride that Mark Walsh gave him last time has transformed the horse allowed him to show the ability that he clearly very much had. Up against him, you'd had Marine National, who also has a fantastic Cheltenham record, but I am worried about those cheek pieces. I read those as negative. The horse, to me, that's probably overpriced is Quilixios, who was the second best horse by some way when he crumpled at the last against Marine National last time. Clearly, he hasn't had a straightforward season. It will be making a seasonal debut in the Champion Chase, but I suspect he is overpriced. And just one thought about the tactics. One of the things that I've seen repeated quite a lot about Mashbury is that he's going to be harried on the lead by Thistleask, who's going to set up the race essentially for Loda Sud. I think Thistleask will be going out to his right in a sort of Solness way. The idea that he's going to be able to keep up with Mashbury, provided Mashbury jumps, but he did jump early in the Arkle, and that was fine. The idea that Thistleask is going to be able to hassle Mashbury at its fences, I think, is for the birds.
okay. Loads mentioned there, Johnny.
Yeah, I fancy Mashbury. I do. I fancy him pretty strongly too. If he does things right, I think he'll win. I think he'll be in front a hell of a long way out in this race.
Yeah.
I'd picture him being in front early, maybe as early as the last with a circuit to go.
Yeah.
And I do think that if his jumping holds up, he'll win, and I think he'll win well too. On top of that, but he's the kind of horse that's probably going to have to drive him into every fence probably to make sure that it's either a good jumper or something very clumsy, and there's no in between with him. So I have a feeling that this time, when he turns in, he'll be a long way ahead, and he can afford to maybe make it.
Hasn't that been an interesting factor, or to me anyway, looking at Mark Walsh, the way he's riding since the announcement about next year's jockeys and that? He's riding completely different.
Unshackled.
Right, yeah, unshackled.
Yeah.
He's now riding horses like a jockey, where before this whole messing around the back and poking him in at halfway and poking him out. It wrecked me head for 20 years,
Yeah.
No, refreshing to see the horse was ridden differently at the Racing Festival and since a couple, and what they can do.
I agree with you, but prominent tactics are definitely very valuable and the old course, a lot more so than the new course. So you need to be in front of you. And like fellas will be telling me, Marine National will be creeping. He'll be creeping, he'll be 15 lengths behind creeping. You know what I mean? He won't be catching it at the same time.
Yeah.
If Mashbury does his business, he will win.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds very confident around the table, Ruby.
Yeah, I'd be the same. I think the cheek pieces were the big difference though. He bounced out to make the run in the hilly way, which was the other side of Christmas, and down to the first fence like a horse that never saw a fence. left, right, running around, half concentrating, going off out to his left. Different tactics at Christmas, but at least he jumped better and he's eye on the fence. And I think when he's competitive, he's a better jumper. When he's taking you cheap pieces, lit him up the last day and he took mark and he went from fence to fence to fence. And that was the cheap pieces just making him competitive. And I think he'd be very hard to follow. I thought last year in the Arkle he was brilliant to the 4th last, but he stepped at the 5th last. He stood way off the 5th last and just got there. And he went to the 4th last then. As anybody would on a novice, he'd been getting longer and longer and longer. You're thinking, if I keep going here, I'm going to land in the middle of the next one and Mark shortened him for the ditch. Yeah. But instead of jumping it, he dropped his arse in the ditch and that was him knocked out of sync. Whereas I think now Mark is thinking, well, you can land in the middle if you want, but I'm going forward every step of the way. Yeah. And in fairness to him in Leopardstown, and even to the second last in Leopardstown, I was standing in the stand thinking, like he sent him to the wings of the second last and he pinged it. And I think that's the way he'll ride him, aggressive.
I think there's the bit of the race that I'm not looking forward to from the position I have on Majborough, which is wanting him to win and having backed him, is the second last. I still think the second last is the one that might catch him out.
5 strides in the bend to the second last.
Okay.
Go on, wherever you are.
Yeah. Tell me, cheek piece is probably a stupid question, definitely a stupid question. There's no chance they work one time and then the horse gets used to them, they're not going to work again.
Could, yeah, very easy.
That is a very good question.
Yeah. So do you roll the dice and put a pair of blinkers on?
Yeah, well, do you know what I mean? Like, just because, like, I know with blinkers, that's often the case, isn't it?
But I think we're all unanimous in one thing. This is the best horse.
Okay. Poor old Marine.
I'd agree with Lydia.
Poor old Marine Nationality, a top-class horse.
It's a crack to go to the fence by the stands and end up in the best mate enclosure.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, if there's any horse that's going to harry Majborough or try to on the lead, it's Quilixios, actually.
Yeah, possibly.
But why do you think Majborough has to make it?
I actually think
he just has to go a good gallop.
I actually think
a bit of company might help him.
I think something brought him even better.
Yeah. I think that the point people are making is more that his jumping will be put under pressure. But I don't think that's the point.
I think he loved the bit of
company.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty unanimous across the board, Majborough. So from one mad 2-mile dash over fences to another one, the Grand Annual at 4:40. Be aware, it's pretty high up in the market here for the Skeletons. It's a typically competitive Grand Annual. Anyone want to volunteer to start? Johnny.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
You moved. You flinched.
You took the brand
Look, it's a tough race. Do you go for one like that's coming down the way, it's maybe like in the pocket, who might have a bit of a chance, but he's 9 years of age? Or I'd nearly always go for one that's on the way up, and I'd go for Vanderpool. Maybe he's definitely a smart horse, but he's gone from like 1-2-6 to maybe to win to 1-3-4 to 1-4-1. Now he's running off here. But I'd say he's a 1-4-1 horse minimum anyway, you know what I mean? He has a good chance, he's a good jumper, he's quite unexposed. Ben Pauling, good outfit. I think he has a good chance in a tricky race. I do think in the pocket could be dangerous. He's coming from Grade 1 company down to like under 150. I think he has a squeak, but I'll go with the younger horses and I'll go with Vanderpool maybe.
Vanderpool, Ruby.
Down Mexico way.
Down Mexico way.
Yep.
Explain.
I thought he was good in Gorham Park earlier in the season. He got behind in Leopardstown behind Cargeese and Romeo Coolio. And when he was out of the race, he didn't get much closer.
Right.
I suggested him for the Grand Annual. You're Jack Richards for him at that point.
Yeah, I think he go here though.
Right.
Okay, down Mexico way, Lydia.
I can see down Mexico way. I'm wondering what Evan Williams is doing with Liberty Hunter. And I don't know which way to interpret the game spirit. Is it that clear round was the most important thing, and with an eye to sort of running in the champion chase, and he was going to get
in the money
when he fell 3 out last year, or is this an older horse who's dropping? He's going to be a lot higher than when he was second in the race 2 seasons ago behind Unexpected Party. But he's got a lot of ability. He's improved since, and I just wonder whether he might be heading here. So I'm just warily looking at Liberty Hunter. I'm going to make my mind up on the day based on whether he's there or not.
Okay, Tony.
Yeah, I'm sort of going for Vanderpool as well. Not a strong opinion. I don't know a lot of these horses. I don't know them well enough, but just Vanderpool.
Grand, fair enough. 2 Vanderpools, 1 down Mexico way and 1 maybe Liberty Hunter.
So there's Jazzy Matty as well coming back, isn't it? To try to
Jesus,
do
come on.
back-to-back wins.
Yeah, well, Jazzy Matty, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
That was a fairy tale last year, wasn't it?
It was
Yeah.
incredible. But I mean, he is a Cheltenham performer, and they do. This is a race that does reward
Yeah,
back
but he's a
form.
long way to come, hasn't he? Was it Clonmel the last day?
The Turles, wasn't it? And it was the
Thurles
same
and
prep as
Clonmel
last time.
before that. Oh no, sorry, yeah.
Okay, grand. Okay, fine. So the bumper will round up day 2. Lydia, you're off the hook for this one.
Couldn't name your horse.
Couldn't name me a horse, great. Right, so Ruby, obviously Closutton kind of holds the key to the market here as it does every single year.
Love Sign Danu, who won at Naas, is the shortest in the bet, and he was probably the most visually impressive when he won a country mile at Naas. I think betting wise he's 5-1. I'd have thought Gordon's horse that won at Christmas, Keep Him Coming, won the winner's bumper at Christmas time when he beat Passenger. I don't think he should be 9-1 and Willie's horse be 5-1. He's 2 runs and that looks stronger form. Keep Him Coming. And Willie has 2 nice 4-year-olds, but for a 4-year-old to win the race, there'd have to be a Q card. Was he the last 4-year-old?
He might have been, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
where,
and that's the standard of horse you need to be. Quirin and Our Trigger, they're 2 fair 4-year-olds, but they're going to have to be exceptional to win this.
I don't know how many 4-year-olds have tried.
Oh, several.
Have they?
Several, yeah. 3 and 4 every year.
So keep him coming, bit of value each way.
Thought at 9-1 he was overpriced compared to Willie's horses, who are mostly shorter.
The perfect name for a horse. Last race today, you've been drinking pints all day. Keep him coming, keep him coming.
Unfortunately, it is the wrong name. It's called Keep 'em Company. But that's
Keep him company, nah, sugar. Right, that definitely has no chance then. Keep him company.
No, but,
Right.
I mean, it still applies. The joke still applies.
Still
Isn't
applies,
it?
yeah, yeah. Keep him going.
Someone
Great.
stick with me at the
Here,
end of the day.
Tony's had a few. Somebody keep him company. Tony, any view?
Oh, just the Love Sign Danu looked just so impressive to me. Haven't heard any word from Willie's yet. You know, going over and asking the lads. Only the usual, like when you meet the first 5 lads, this is a certainty. The second 5 lads, this is a certainty. I don't know, have you separate teams over there just to tell everyone different things? The amount of tips I
Part
get
of the
for the
employment
bumper.
contract.
Huh?
It's a part of the employment contract.
Yeah.
Make sure you all tell Tony something different.
Tell him something different for every race. But this horse was massively impressive. And I saw nothing else that made me stop and rewind to get a look at. So I'd imagine this lad is the one.
Okay, Love Sign Danu.
Yeah, look, it's very hard to put your finger on horses that have won one race. Like, I mean, Love Sign Danu. You could list a rake of them that have one run and one good, impressive win. How do you decipher which one is better than the other? It's nearly impossible. A horse I like, and that's when he win, but I think it's only a game as a good horse. I think he'll run well here. He got all upset at the DRF. He was the only horse that sweated. I could see on the telly for the 2 days anyway, and he was prancing around like he probably shouldn't even have been allowed to run. He got in such a state. Now, he did finish 4th, like he's close up. That kind of form won't do. But his previous run is he beat a horse called Boystown, who won a bumper afterwards in the north on Stevens Day by 18 lengths. And he came through a gap that he had to bustle his way through. He's the one horse I've seen this winter has a turn of foot anyway.
Yeah.
Like I'd say he'd win flat races for sure. His second Punchestown first time out back at the spring meeting. I do think he's a smart horse, and he's 25 or 33-1. I think he's an each way chance in a difficult race. You'd like to see him behave though, because if he does what he did at the DRF, he won't win.
Yeah.
Just wonder an interesting factor. I don't know, you probably name 5 of them to me now, but is there any horse that's won his bumper, got beat, and gone back to win in Cheltenham? The Cheltenham bumper.
I honestly couldn't.
I just think that
You need to be on a winning thread, like kind of thing.
Maybe so.
yeah, that if you're mature enough to win your first bumper and then you get beat the next day, they're usually not good enough to go back unless there's a really genuine excuse.
Champagne Fever, did he get beat the first day or the second day?
I can't remember now, but I just know going
Beat the first day, I think.
over the years,
And improved, maybe.
horses that have won the
That
bumper.
Weld horse, Silver Concord, I'd say he definitely hadn't won all his races going to Cheltenham here for sure now. But he might have won his previous race. I don't know that now, you know.
Yeah,
Robbie McNamara rode him.
he didn't win though, did he?
He did. He won the Cheltenham Board.
Bernie Hollow says Mark at the back.
Yeah.
beaten in a few bumpers.
He was. Bernie Hollow was touched off in Leopardstown, actually. He was at
Yeah.
the DRF, yeah. He was. Look, you're right, though. You need probably a horse in the yoke. But I do think that horse should probably not have ran at the DRF. Like,
This is in the pocket, that was
No,
called it. No,
it's only a game.
It's only a game.
Yeah,
it's only
I
a
do
game,
think
so
he's a smart horse now, very smart horse.
Yeah.
But he has to behave a lot better than he did at the DRF.
Okay.
I would say we've cleared that race up for him.
Yeah.
It's only a game. The one whose name I got wrong as well. Keep him company and
Favourite.
the favourite.
Love Sign Danu.
Love Sign Danu. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Lydia, you made the right call there. Well done. Right, day 2 naps, everybody, please. Lydia, you've had a break. Come on.
Oh, God, I have. On the back foot. Because of the prices that they're at, I'm going to go the Big Westerner.
The Big Westerner, okay. Tony?
Oh, Marsborough double bet.
Marsborough, a double nap on Marsborough, right?
Yeah, I'll go with Marsborough. Keep it simple.
All in.
All in, wow. So it's a treble double. Jesus.
A Trixie, yeah.
I just thought it was too short, that's why. But anyway, there we go.
It's okay, you can do your own thing.
Thank you.
Don't be led by the crowd.
No,
It's fine.
you're right.
Yeah. Right, okay, we're going to take another quick ad break, a very quick one. So we'll be back quicker than I don't know what.
before.
Don't know what?
Quicker than we were before.
Quicker than we were before. That's a good one, yeah. See you after this.
Great result. Thanks, Peter. Coming up, we have league action live on Friday night, followed by 3 more games live on Saturday, then 2 more massive games live on Sunday. And don't forget, league action live on Monday night. Then it's over to Europe for the big one, live on Tuesday. Then the even bigger one, live on Wednesday. Then it's the other Europe.
Sometimes a break isn't a bad idea. So, if ever you want to take time out from betting, use Paddy Power's Take a Break tool to pause your account. Paddy Power.
You're very welcome back. We are now officially halfway through the show, which is great. On to day 3, which starts off with the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. So this looks between Bambino Fever and Old School Outlaw. Tony, Patrick Mullins gave us a preview on the Paddy Power Racing YouTube last week, and he gave Bambino Fever as his nap of the week. You tweeted recently that she could be a banker. Do you still think that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's the best. She's won around Cheltenham already. And, that one little blip first time over hurdles. To me, this one will come home alone. Now, funny, I thought she'd come home alone, this outlaw teacher, or what is it? Old school outlaw. Old school outlaw.
Yeah. You went to the car to get your glasses, and now you're not using your glasses.
That improved a good bit to the second day, and it might be, but to me, Bambino Fever is the bet of the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
First race Thursday, bet of the meeting. Ruby, is he right?
She's a good mare, good solid jumper. Was beaten by Old School Outlaw even at Naas. She had, Bambino Fever will have to have improved to got by Old School Outlaw. She was a better mare again at Ferryhouse, and I thought beat Bambino Fever fair enough at Naas. But I think Bambino has improved a good bit fitness-wise, and that should see her turning the tables with Old School Outlaw.
Okay, on to the Jack Richards Novice Limited Handicap Chase. It's a fairly open contest here. Lydia, you've won here, I'm sure?
Yeah, Meet Me by the Sea will win this. This is my strongest opinion of the entire meeting. Ruby knows that I've been banging on about this all season.
Not as open a contest as I might have alluded to.
I love the way the horse jumps. I think he's really efficient and sound. I liked the prep in the Game Spirit where we couldn't see him from 5 out. He got outpaced and still managed to win at Ayr in a race that's a bit deeper than might generally be a novice contest like that would have been. And I thought, having looked in trouble going into the home turn, already coming into the straight, he was already back on it. And I thought he won a shade snugly. I think he's going to improve for the step up into it from 2 miles to 2.5. That's what he did when he hit the frame in the EBF final at Sandown on Imperial Cup Day last season. I just think he's about, I think he's 14 to 1 anti-post terms, 12 to 1 non-winner no bet. I think there's still some anti-post terms knocking around. It's the only entry that he's got, and he runs there if he's well. So if you haven't had a bet in the race, I'd be inclined to take a couple of points longer.
Okay, Meet Me by the Sea. Compelling argument there, Tony. Any views?
Well, I fancy here 6 Mile Bridge. He looks to me to be nicely handicapped for a grade 1 winner already, and reliable. 3 runs over fences. He's won the 3 of them, and in my opinion, looking at him, he seems to be improving all the way. So I don't know if he runs in this. He has about 4 entries.
I think they are favouring this.
Yeah, well, if they're favouring this, 6 Mile Bridge, good each way bet.
Okay, lovely. Johnny?
I fancy Meet Me by the Sea.
Ooh.
Strongly.
There you go.
I do. I do think it's well enough 139. I think it's 2.5. Everything Lydia said, I reiterate that. And there are good horses, and this is a smart race. But the likes of 6 Mile Bridge and Cocktail Div, they are good horses, and they're probably better than 150, but they'll struggle to give £11 to Meet Me by the Sea, I think. I think Meet Me by the Sea might be a 150 horse himself.
Right.
It's very hard for them horses to give him that kind of weight. I think he's done very little wrong. He's a young horse. He hasn't many miles in the clock. We had a great race in last year's EBF final. I think he's a great chance.
Okay, meet me by the sea, Ruby.
Yeah, definitely has strong claims, and maybe Cocktail Devon won't be able to give him that kind of weight, but I think this race is made for Cocktail Devon. Don't think he'll get the trip in the Brown Advisory. Didn't get it in Punchestown in the Florida Pearl when Oscar's brother beat him. Think he's a very good horse, great jumper. Yeah, wouldn't mind being on him now halfway down the hill.
Okay, Cocktail Dive, meet me by the sea, and 6 Mile Bridge.
6 Mile Bridge.
That's the Jack Richards done. Right, the Mayor's Hurdle is next, and we kind of decided earlier that Lossiemouth is probably running here. So it looks
We
like
didn't
it's
really.
Well, we're only guessing. Like,
we kind of know Brighter Days Ahead won't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's the right race for Lossiemouth. She beat Woodoo at Aintree last year only by 2.5 lengths. Didn't blow her out of the way or anything. And yeah, I think that she's probably.
Is she definitely better than Woodoo?
I think she is. Yeah, I think she is. But I suppose with the uncertainty, if you're thinking Lossiemouth might go champion, I could see Jade de Grugy coming back here then.
Yes.
So maybe no bet. Maybe Jade de Grugy is the play. I think she'd be short of 9-2 if she does run here with no Lossiemouth or Brighter Days Ahead in the race. So maybe she's the betting angle to it, but maybe that's factored into the 9-2. But yeah, Lossiemouth, she's in good nick. I do think she would win if she runs here. If I'm honest.
Okay.
Have we been talking about Lossiemouth as if she ran quite well last time, when really she didn't? She
No.
didn't. What,
I don't think she ran that well the last day. I thought she never looked like she was going to win. I thought she was disappointing, and the vibes are good.
Because she's not good enough. It's just my opinion that Brighter Days Ahead is a much better horse.
I think a 2 miles, Tony. Yeah,
Definitely a 2 miles.
I feel like a broken record.
Yeah.
But there was nothing more than just. I mean, she looked flat, as even if she was up
She
against
did
it
look
over 2
flat,
miles.
yeah. She never got going. But I just think that was 2 miles. I think just going up another couple of furlongs.
You tend to look
stuff.
flat when there's someone going faster than you.
I think also maybe it was the ground, because she looks like she might. Like Brighter Days Ahead looks like she has the physicality to be able to deal with that kind of ground more easily than maybe Lossiemouth.
Yeah, but Lossiemouth's going around in Willie Mullins' gallop 7 days
true.
a week.
Yeah, true.
DRF now would have been a day off for her.
Yeah.
Should have been a day off, yeah.
Okay, and Woodoo, like Gordon Elliott's put up Woodoo as his nap of the week.
She's a good mare, only a 6-year-old. She's improving. Good winner, the Martin Pipe. Couldn't quite match Lossiemouth at Aintree. Didn't blow me away at Christmas, but she did have that bandage on a hind leg covering a cut, and you can kind of make an excuse for it. I thought she was very good at Ascot. I thought Danny Gilligan gave her a good ride now, but I thought she was very impressive at Ascot when she beat Celtic Dino. So, look, she's a very good mare, Woodoo, there's no doubt about it. But I do think Lossie's just better than her.
Okay. Johnny?
Yeah. Look, if the two of them face off, it'll be close. I think it'll be close. I wouldn't be definite about which. Woodoo probably has less questions to answer. She's a couple of lengths to find from Aintree. There won't be much in it now, I don't think. Lossiemouth's run the last day is a bit worrying. I didn't like the head out to the side and that kind of stuff. Simply struggling for some reason. But she still is a good horse. And like, people are making the case for Lossiemouth beat Brighter Days Ahead at Christmas quite well, I thought, anyway. You know what I mean? I mean, she's every bit as good as the likes of Brighter Days Ahead. But whether she's right is another thing. You know, whether she's going to be 100%.
Yeah.
She had a really, really hard race. Like, there's a few horses had hard races. She was definitely one of them at the DRF. And there is a chance the DRF will leave its mark on quite a few horses there.
Yeah.
That's one thing you'd be
it
worried about.
was quality racing, but that could be a downside to that.
Terrible bad ground at the same
Yeah,
time. Like,
yeah.
they like to talk and all them, any of them are badly fed. There's loads of horses that ran at DRF. You'd be wondering, will they come out of the race? Some will, some won't. But I'd just about favour Woodoo, but it would be little or nothing in it.
Lydia?
I think particularly on the point about the DRF potentially leaving a mark, particularly on the hurdle for the hurdles horses, I think because of the differential in the ground, I think it would have been tougher there. I think it's going to be close between them. I think I'd probably, if they were both the same price, I'd probably favour Lossiemouth. I do think the Woodoo is a better horse than the one that was beaten by Lossiemouth at Aintree. I am inclined to forgive what happened at Christmas. She still won, but I suspect she wasn't quite at 100%. I was impressed by what she did at Ascot. We know that she handles the track really well. We know Lossiemouth handles the track really well. It would be a price-dependent thing. I think if there was enough disparity between them, I'd be prepared to take use Woodoo to take on Lossiemouth, bearing bearing in mind what Lossiemouth did last time. And Jay de Gruza coming in. I mean, if Lossiemouth does go to the champion hurdle in the scenario where sport wins, then Jay de Gruza, I think it could be interesting to switch back from fences to hurdles. I don't think she'll be a pushover in this contest either.
Okay, well, sport might win, Tony, but Lossiemouth obviously won't win the champion hurdle. But tell me, does that mean you're strong on Woodhoo, or does that mean you're...
Well, I'm very surprised, actually. Gordon is very bullish about this Woodhoo.
Yeah.
She's obviously better than what I seem to be seeing, you know, because I think Lossiemouth is the best of these. Yeah. That's my opinion, but you have to respect with all the horses he has going. He's been asked a couple of times that I've seen recordings of him saying Woodhoo is my best.
He obviously has a soft spot now because it was the last race, wasn't it, the Martin Pipe last year, and he hadn't had a winner, and it's all that kind of emotion and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, but I mean, in the last 10 days or so, he's been asked a few times, and he is every time straight away Woodhoo.
Okay.
So she must be improving.
Yeah.
I think she'll have it all to do to back Lossiemouth. I've been knocking Lossiemouth all the champion hurdle, but
like the first outsider of the
she'll
week.
probably win this.
Yeah.
You know what? I think the market will be a good guide in this race. I think it'll be fascinating. I do think if I think Lydia's right. If there's a big disparity in the betting, I think if Lossiemouth say 4-6 and Woodhoo's 2-1, I say Lossiemouth will win. If they bet 5-4 Woodhoo will beat Lossiemouth.
Okay. If there's just that much confidence behind
it. If there's not as much confidence behind Lossiemouth as there should be.
I understand.
Yeah.
Grand Road. It's the Paddy Power Stayers hurdle next. Obviously a wonderfully sponsored race. We've got Gordon Eddy at the top two here. He has Tihupu and Honesty Policy. I know you're a fan of Honesty Policy, Ruby.
I am. I loved him at Ascot behind Impose Trois. I just thought for his first run out of novice company, I thought it was a cracking run. Was a bit keen through the race. Didn't really get settled to get down to Swindy bottom the second time. Looked like they were getting away from it the third last. Looked like he was going to be well beaten between the last two hurdles in the long walk. And then from the last home, he started to come again. He's only a 6-year-old, which might be a negative for him in the stairs hurdle, but I think he's a very good horse. And I think he's on the way up. I mean, Chupu, argue it whatever way you want, he could possibly have 3 stairs hurdles won, but he only has 1. And he was brilliant at Christmas time. I thought the race really set up for him. But I don't see the stairs hurdle setting up the same way. And I'm not sure that brings out the best in Chupa. I think he'll have to commit early, and that will leave him a little bit vulnerable to something coming at him. And I think Honesty Policy could mug him,
Honesty
I
Policy.
think Mashan too is a big runner as well. Thought he was very good in the Cleve hurdle. And they're 2 young horses on the way up, whereas Chupu has been there a while now.
What about the old real lad, Bob Allinger?
I was going to say last year's winner, he did exactly that.
Yeah,
That's all he did, win it last year.
Yeah. And he did run well at Christmas, there's no doubt about that. But and he's been a brilliant horse, great record at the race course, but I'm afraid, Tony, just not for me.
Yeah.
Hard to see him improving, isn't it? He's about 100 years old.
We'll be talking later why I hope Impose Trois runs. Don't care whether he has any chance or not, but I just hope he runs in this. It has a bearing on weights later in the week.
Okay.
So, you know, in this race, Tiupu, I can't see anything getting near him.
Okay, based on Christmas.
Yeah, and that's another boring favourite to be tipping. But, you know, I think these are all very well exposed. Mashan 2 might be improving, but Tiupu, I can't get anything up near him.
Okay, Lydia?
I don't feel the same. I think Tiupu's got a good chance, but I can have things getting up near him. I think that Bob Ollinger was further back out of his ground at Christmas, and his whole season revolves around the Stayers hurdle. I can see him, getting a lot closer to Tiupu. I think Honesty Policy is an unexposed progressive 6-year-old. It's just whether he's quite hardened enough for a race like this. I mean, this is the kind of race that rewards horses that come back again and again and again. And even Chupu wasn't quite up to it first time around that he tried it. Was he 6 when he first tried it, or was he 7? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a messy race.
I know there was the ride complications as well, weren't there?
Yeah.
That he received the best ride on that day.
And Jack blames himself for last year not probably kicking him off the back of the second last hurdle, but he was very good at Christmas. And he keeps coming back, but
more in the case of, I just wonder about, what is it about this race that means that horses are? I mean, it's probably that the level of being a Stayers Hurdle winner is not that high. If you've got a Stayer, you really want to be winning a Gold Cup over fences. You don't want to be winning a Stayers Hurdle. But nonetheless, it does reward horses that come back year on year on year, and that's just a worry in the back of my mind about honesty policy. Otherwise, I really like him. I think obviously the long walk hurdle form has been let down. Imposed Trois looked like a non-stayer last time, so there is that in the back of your mind. But he should improve for that run. You've then got Machon 2, who has got that hardened handicap experience over 3 miles and is an improving horse. I can see him getting near Chupu. And then there's Crabwell de Mathan, who has got pace. It's just whether he sees out the trip. So I'm quite undecided about this race still at the moment, I'm afraid. I want to get more information nearer the time, such as the ground. But I think it's more open than 2-1 about Chupu.
Okay.
Says is fair.
Okay. Johnny?
Yeah, this is an open race. I mean, you have 2 older horses like Tihupu and Bob Ollinger, then you have 2 young horses like Honesty Policy, Cabral de Matin, and then you have 2 handicappers like Machan 2 and Imposé Trois. It's a tricky one to kind of weigh up. I was giving Cabral de Matin a chance, and I listened to a thing I was at the other night, Tony McCoy, he gives it 0, and he said that kind of horse can't win anyway. His style of running is too free and all that. And do you know what? He's probably right. So yeah. I've kind of put a line through that. I've no huge opinion in it. Okay. I've no huge opinion. But if you force me, I'm not so sure Imposed Trois doesn't get the trip. But I think he's just about a run in him that lasts about 150 yards. You know what I'm saying? He's not an easy horse to win with. And if you can maybe kill him off in a race, he's definitely a gunner. But he's a horse I could see maybe filling a place, and if the cards fell for him on the running, he's got to be delivered like Archibald, kind of stuff. I think
it's the one race you can do that.
Maybe so, maybe so. Like he did go by Honesty Policy and ask it as if he was standing still at the same time, you know. But I'm wondering, is that form any good? Like with Strong Leader and Honesty Policy, is that form good enough to make Honesty Policy a 4-1 shot in a race like this? Tihupu, I agree with you, has a good chance. I wouldn't say you definitely couldn't say it wouldn't win, wouldn't pack it either. I think I'll go Imposed Trois because I'll be losing less if it's nowhere.
Okay, so Imposed Trois, Honesty Policy, Tihupu, and
yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to decide nearer the day, but I wouldn't be backing Chupu at these prices.
Okay, perfect.
That's not saying it can't win.
Okay, Ryanair Chase, Gaelic Warrior versus Factify looks like a match. I mean, they're going to be kept apart, Willie Muns has said, so we don't know which runs where. I'm guessing, reading between the lines, then JP probably decides if Factify runs in this race or runs in the Gold Cup, and then Gaelic Warrior will run here, I guess. But either way, Johnny, whichever one of them runs is going to be very short.
Yeah,
right?
It looks like it's going to be Factify. Looking at the betting, that's the way it's heading anyway. He should probably win. The one thing I would say, and a friend pointed out to me actually, I didn't even notice it, that his last 6 runs, he's followed a good run with a bad run. So if the trend continued, his last run is obviously a good one.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a bad one coming, who knows?
I think that's ground related myself.
Ground related, and they've danced him up and down in distances. This horse's head is wrecked. Do you know what he ran in at Punchestown last year?
2 mile race, yeah.
A 2 mile race.
Yeah.
A horse that won the RSA 2 years ago. And he runs in the 2 mile.
Well,
he's run over 2.5.
I could have seen
his head, right?
I could have seen the logic of that before I actually thought he'd win that race, to be honest. No, but
that's 2 of us.
Yeah.
But you see, this is what we have, a horse that proved as a baby in the RSA that he stays 3-1 and quickened up the hill.
Yeah.
Steadily run
It was
race.
a Gold Cup horse all along, and now he's not going to get to run it again.
Yeah.
Here's a horse that probably should have 3 gold. This should be his 3rd Gold Cup.
Absolutely not.
Oh, yeah. This is the best.
Absolutely not. Sorry.
Straight and fair, this is the best
horse in training. Have you heard of Gallopin de Champs?
Huh? I have a couple of years ago. But at the moment, Factify is the best horse in training.
Yeah, look, on his day, without
his poor old head is wrecked.
Ashborough is surely the best horse in training at the moment.
He's going to be very
short.
Might
be the fastest.
If he turns up, it's going to be probably 4-7.
Yeah.
So, look, I think there's 4-7 shots run every day of the week. Cheltenham wouldn't be a place to be betting 7-4 on, I think, anyway, myself. Yeah. I think Banbridge has a little chance. I do think he has a bit of a chance if he turns up here, especially on better ground. He like his runs in the King George this year and the year before give him a squeak at this level. He did finish, whatever way, he did finish and won the Factify in the King George. He has some semblance. He's the only decent horse in the race, apart from Factify, who should probably win.
Probably a small field, though, because it'll be uncompetitive. Like.
Yeah, but you'll have heart. There'll probably be enough to make up 8 at the same time.
Okay.
It's going to be a cracking race. Like.
Yeah.
It's going to be a procession, surely, for whichever one of them turns up.
I agree with you completely.
Would you, yeah?
Factify or Gaelic Warrior, whichever one of the 2 of them runs here, I think they'll be way short of the 4-7.
And you're all forgetting John Bond.
John Bond isn't going to show effective file runs, I don't think.
I don't
Well,
know.
where's he going to go?
Entry.
I'd
Entry,
say,
yeah, could be.
Straight to entry?
Yeah.
Could do.
Effective file runs.
Oh,
Maybe he'll run anyway.
I'd cut up a lot this race for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I think it will too. I think either whichever one will be it Factor File or Gaelic Warrior, I think whichever one runs will be well on son.
Yeah.
So
But do you know what, like, you're right about one thing about Cheltenham though, is that horses that will be 4 to 7 in Cheltenham would be probably 4 to 11 in a normal meeting. You know what I mean?
I have ridden, I remember I've ridden horse in Cheltenham, and I've often said to my father that morning, like, Dad, if this wasn't Cheltenham, it'd be 1 to 3.
Yeah.
And it'd be 2 to 1. Like, you know what I mean? That Cheltenham does that. I don't know, is that Johnny putting just more liquidity in the market? Or,
Well, there's fellas there sticking their chest out, want to delay favourites, thinking that they have a chance of getting them. And history has taught them that they can get them beat for some reason. Like, I'd actually think the new line would be 11 to 8 if it wasn't the champion hurdle. You know what I mean?
Okay, right. Unanimous for
Tony-
unnamed fav.
Tony,
in the rider.
the only thing about Factor File is, when Factor File dominates, he's brilliant. He's never won a battle.
He's never won a battle because they keep riding him in this way of trying to put him asleep out the back.
And I was.
This is the John Durkin, isn't it? You cannot get
I was his biggest fan till the John Durkin.
Yeah.
He got by Gaelic Warrior, pinged the second last after going at a more sensible gallop than Gaelic Warrior went. Same level of fitness, wing by, has the race won, and when Gaelic Warrior rallied back down his inner, he was the one that cracked.
Well,
So I don't agree with you, he's the best horse in train.
Well, the twice I saw him that he was ridden, as I call it, like a racehorse, jumped out nice and handy and produced him and quickened away. It was the RSA and the Gold Cup the last day. Twice in his
The RSA
life.
was a walking race.
Huh?
The RSA was a walking race. He sat
And
just
he
behind the
walked
pace.
away from him.
Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
That's it. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just a very classy horse.
I think no bet. Factor File or Gaelic Warrior. I
Back
think
to two of them.
Back to two of them. You're getting your money back on one and you're on the other one. I
Yeah.
think whichever one of them turns up.
I'm not. I don't think that Factor File is a chicken. I'm not sure I agree with your John Durkin reading. Although I mean I agree with what happened on the day, but I don't think it necessarily. I mean I think he hasn't dominated races in the way that suggests that he doesn't have any heart for the fight.
Okay. Can we finish with the Ryanair?
That's it.
Right, grand, brilliant. Okay, so it's basically unnamed fav, as I said, yeah. The favourite wins, right? So, okay, so look, we're on to the pretemps now. I know Ruby and Johnny want no part of this. Tony, this is it. This is the moment. So
We need
is it
input
Letos?
Let us.
Let us, yes. So let us know. Let us pray. He's been well backed in recent days. Like,
Yeah, well, I'd say a lot of that is I've told the owners that he's definitely running in this.
yeah.
So we planned the Brown Lad and he won it. And then we had the plan to go to Carlisle and qualify, because I wanted to qualify nice and early. Then I got some sort of a brainstorm and ran him back too quick in Naas. And we've freshened him up since, and we think he's good, you know. This is going to be a competitive race because, what do you call him? Impostoire is going to go out now, I'm told. So the weights go up 7 pounds.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good. It brings us up to a weight where Danny can ride him at 10.8. And that'll suit. But like at the moment, the race is 12 stone number 1, 11.7 number 2, and 11.3 number 3. Number 4 in the race is 10 stone 8.
Yeah.
So like, I'm sure Staffordshire not will run, but these weights potentially could go up 1.5 stones. Yeah. It's very competitive. 90% of the field, I think, are between 136 and 130. It's unbelievable, you know, how competitive it is. But
You think your fella's well handicapped?
I think he's well. And well, now you have to remember he's 13 pounds, which is nearly 1 pound off a stone higher than he was when he won the Brown Lad. But I think he's improved as well. He'll definitely be competitive, and I'm going to have a few quid in him.
Good man. That's what we like to hear. Okay, Grant. Kim Muir is the last race on day 3. Another race dominated by the green and gold, the top 4 in the market. Ruby, Patrick said on the show last week that he'll ride Road to Home, and he's yet to win this race, which the punter in me says, well, that's why this is the big plan for the Mullins family for the week, is to get Patrick to win the Kim Muir.
He's one big problem though. He runs in Willie Mullins' name, who's never won a handicap chase at Cheltenham. He want to get a riding race for somebody else, I'd say.
Okay.
But look, maybe it will happen for Road to Home. I didn't have a massively strong opinion on the Muir.
Yeah.
I think this far out, there's horses way down the list. We
Yeah.
thought they might get in, would have a chance, but till we see scratchings and confirmations. I
Grand.
think.
Anybody have any strong opinion? We bother?
I like You Have Me in Stitches. I thought that she ran really well behind the Big Westerner, wasn't it? And Jade de Grugy at Limerick. I thought shaping as though she wanted a trip. She's qualified for this run, running over 2 miles behind Dino Blue.
Yeah.
I think she looks more like a Kim Muir type than a 2-miler.
Okay, you have me in stitches?
I like Waterford Whispers. I have a feeling
Waterford
he's going to-
Whispers.
Oh,
yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Okay.
That's kind of betting is suggesting that he's
Yeah.
nearly the shortest price for this race than he
Okay.
is for the Euros. Like he's in off 137. I don't really fancy Jericho the Repine. I'd be much more afraid of You Have Me in Stitches. JP have big say it. I think the first three in the betting. Looking at the markets, right, it's a bit early to be saying for certain, but it would appear that Waterford Whispers is going to.
That because this is the worst race Waterford Whispers is in.
But no, I'd say when you like you can back him at 25 and 20 to 1 for some of these other races, and you can lay him at about 11 and 12 to 1 for this. So that's why it suggests to me that when there's even though it's only small money, but someone's willing to risk it at the same time.
They're usually right.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, but it's.
When there's that
I have a
disparity.
feeling he's running here, and if he gets the trip, he's a great chance.
Okay, Tony?
No, Jericho de Repine was second in the Berthames last year. He handles Cheltenham and that, so
Grant?
I chance him. 12 stones, probably a hard ask.
Okay.
But at the same time, he's an old warrior and wouldn't be one of my major bets.
Okay, Jericho de Repine, Waterford Whispers, no opinion. And
You Have Me in
You Have
Stitches.
Me in Stitches. Grant, perfect. That is Thursday done, except for the naps. Ruby, nap.
Oh, Jesus.
What was Thursday again?
The favourite in the Ryanair.
The favourite in the Ryanair.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, fab.
Having two bets.
It's
You're
a
having
fair
two
bet,
bets
yeah.
now, no run or no bet, because
Yeah.
I think they're going to be whichever one it is, will be way shorter on the day.
Okay.
Carry on. I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
of
go
one.
on.
Meet Me by the Sea.
Meet Me by the Sea. And
Let us each way.
Let us each way, yeah.
I'll go with Meet Me by the Sea.
Meet Me by the
as
Sea.
well,
Okay,
yeah,
well, that's a big, well, it was a big price.
Lydia
until this-
Hislop inspires Johnny Dineen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, our final break is coming up in a sec, so don't even bother boiling the kettle because you won't have time.
Hi, I didn't think you lads would turn up this year.
Everyone knows Cheltenham's our patch. The last time you were a winner here, you still had an economy.
We were too busy trying to win a proper tournament. Yes, mate.
River dancers.
Queue lovers, stew eaters, penalty chokers.
Potato munchers! It's embarrassing.
We're just having a bit of crack here.
Sorry.
Win up to £250,000 every day at Cheltenham with Eliminator. Paddy Power's free-to-play game. Paddy Power.
And welcome back, and we're on to Friday and the final day of the Cheltenham Festival. And time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Right, the Triumph Hurdle is first, and Johnny, like myself and like many others, the old anti-post portfolio took a bit of a bashing.
It
when
did, yeah.
Narciso
And
Haas went out.
it's a wide open race now all of a sudden. I do think Mullins will still win this race though. The French breds have really good record the last 8-10 years. And I'd say the French bred horses are a step above. The expensive French bred horses anyway are a step above the likes of Manila's Study and that anyway. I don't really fancy that kind of horse.
Is there one that you caught the eye, or you?
Yeah, well, I thought the form line between Proactive and Macho Man is probably the one from Fairy House, maybe.
Okay.
That looked a goodish race. And I'd be interested to see how Munson gets on in the Fred Winter. He was known by he contested that race as well. But like,
well, Townend's decision of who he rides.
well, he can either ride. He won't ride Proactive because it was Mark Walsh rode that, but he could ride. If he rode Macho Man over Silver de Vere, that'd be an indicator. I think maybe one of those two horses could win it actually, but it's a trickier race now than it looked like being.
Okay, Ruby, and when Narciso Haas was such a clear leader in terms of the juveniles, like after that, there's obviously a bit of wind out of the sails in Mullins' yard, but has something else stepped forward, or is it?
Proactive and Macho Man were good horses. Just Narciso Haas did look to be that bit ahead of the rest of them. Salma de Vere ran really well at the DRF. I'd just be worried about her on the new course. She's quite a sharp filly. Mojalik won well at Naas last week, and there's others there that have run and won well as well. 40-50's a nice horse maybe for next year. Moulin Lab won at Navan, he's a decent horse. Moncruse made a bad mistake at Naas.
You must love the way he gets so many French named horses into the.
Yeah, because you can just say them all wrong.
Yeah, they just come out and roll off the tongue.
Make absolutely no sense. Manila Academy.
Are you insulting his French
Not at all.
pronunciation?
No. Just commenting. Just commenting.
I think Manila Academy's a smashing horse. Wouldn't be sure that he'd run, tell you the truth, but look, I'd say Willie could run 8 or 9, but Macho Man, Proactive, one of the two of them for me.
Okay, Tony.
I was very impressed with that filly in Naas, Kenny Alexander's Majalik. And you see, I hadn't gone through it too much because I thought Narcissa Haas was a certainty. But this one, what she did in a very funny race now where they walked, so it was a 1.6 sort of a race, if you remember. They didn't at the start. Then she got squeezed out and she was quite brave coming to the last and jumped. So from what I know of what I've seen, she's the real potential improver.
Majolique.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Majolique.
Lydia, any of you?
I haven't recalibrated after the exit
Okay.
of Narciso House. I need to do a lot of work on the juveniles.
Okay. So Majolique, Macho Man, Proactive, and
I'll go Proactive maybe.
Proactive. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, lovely. County Hurdles next. Murcia for last year's winning connections tops the market. Ruby, is she another Cargisi 2.0 maybe?
I don't know. I thought Carbo ran an absolute blinder behind Glenkill and the Limestone lad in this. Qualified Carbo for the race. I know it's a rating of 150, which some people will think is plenty high. I thought Work Ahead jumped forward from his first run to his second behind Stormheart in the Red Mills last week, and I think he's going the right way. A lot of people fancied him in last year's Supreme, and he just blew out for whatever reason. So I think there's plenty of horses in here. Murcia, possibly. But I do think Murcia is best on. I know she's had form on slow ground in the summer, but or through this winter. But I think she wanted to dry a good bit for Cheltenham.
Okay.
Herself.
This is a Willie Mullins benefit, the County Hurdle these days, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I think Murcia has a good chance, but Ruby's spot on there. I think the ground is key, and if it dried up by Friday, which it could do, she'd have a much better chance. And if it did go like good, I could see her going off 7-2 shot.
Okay.
But if it doesn't, if the ground is slightly against her, I don't think I'd have any bet in the race then.
I did think that Carbo shaped really well, particularly relative to the race fit Glen Kiln at Nace, and the fact that the others who are good horses, Work Ahead and Farron Glory, dropped away to such an extent. Carbo was a little bit further behind. He stuck on really quite nicely. I thought that was a really good opening run. And I can see the Murcia argument as well. I thought the way that she was running, she had quite a wide trip, didn't she, at the DRF, and she shaped as though she would do a lot better on a sounder surface. So I don't know. I can see the argument for both of those. It sounds like this is the race that you are going to have to formulate a plan nearer the time.
Yeah, okay, grand. Tony?
And is Stormheart, did you mention for
I
some?
thought Coral Cup maybe.
Coral Cup maybe,
Won
yeah.
two
But
and a
then
half in Limerick and then won the Red Mills. Did show a good turn of foot now in the Red Mills, but
I thought Work Ahead, was it second to Stormheart then, was it?
the second
In
Stormheart in
Gorn.
the Red Mills, yeah.
Yeah.
Track beside you there.
I'd go for
Work
Work Ahead.
Ahead. So Work Ahead, not sure.
Maybe Murcia if the
Maybe
ground
Murcia.
is good.
Carbo, I'd be giving
Carbo, okay, great. Lovely. Okay, Mrs. Paddy Power Mayor's Chase, not sponsored by my missus, I can assure you.
As far as you know.
Yeah, as far as I know, but it's Dino Blue tops the market. Spindleberry and Panic Attack obviously in there too. They represent a danger. Tony, you kick us off here with the Mayor's Chase.
Well, of course, I don't know what happened Spindleberry the last day. I mean, she never took part in the Gold Cup. And
well, that was the first step up to the trip, wasn't it?
yeah, she was gone a long time before the trip. She was gone before she got to the ditch on the far side, before the roadway. So the trip wasn't her problem there. So whatever her problem was, they've got to fix that. But it looks like they have it fixed, at 4-1.
Yeah.
Panic Attack is a formidable opponent, but to me, if Spindleberry, if they found the problem, if they fixed it, that's the one I go for.
Yeah, and Ruby, she was unbeaten going into that, wasn't she, over Fences Spindleberry?
She was. She'd been well placed and won some decent enough contests, but again, it's whether she'd be over that. You got to the bottom of her, and you've got to try and rejuvenate her now. A big ask. I would much prefer Dinah Blue. I think she's rock solid. 2 mistakes cost her a 4-3, which is unlike her. I think she's a pretty good jumper.
It's unlike her. Come on, she throws a
She's
bad
brave.
one in.
She's brave.
Good. Oh my goodness, what have you done here?
Just keep sending her. She's brave. I think, I like Dinah Blue.
Yeah, Dinah Blue looks fairly straightforward to me as well.
Yeah, Dinah Blue is a solid one. Yeah, she's the one to beat. I do think Jade DeGrouge has a chance if it goes in here. I do think it's the biggest danger to Dinah Blue. A lot more dangerous than anything else. But Dinah Blue is probably the one to beat. But Jade DeGrouge has a chance. She's a good jumper too off fences. Her run behind the big Western, but she's probably outstayed on a heavier ground than it was ideal. She has a chance in this race, but maybe Dinah Blue is the one.
Okay.
I think we're being asked to take an awfully short price about Dino Blue for a race that is much deeper and gets deeper every year. And I think she'll have to perform better than she did last year in order to win this. I quite like Diva Luna. I am a little bit worried that she missed the Silly Isles, and but I suppose the flip side to that is that she will be fresh. There doesn't seem to be any doubt that she's going to be able to make the Cheltenham Festival. She's got Cheltenham Festival form in the past. I thought she's taken really well to fences. She's always shaped as though she'd be a lot better chaser than hurdler, and she was a pretty decent novice hurdler, so I like her. Diva Luna.
Okay, Diva Luna, Dino Blue.
Yeah.
That's Spindleberry?
Yeah, Spindleberry.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, grand. Albert Bartlett's next. Ruby, you mentioned Dr. Steinberg earlier. This looks, I think the betting suggests this is the race Dr. Steinberg's
really
going
his time maybe going 2.5 because he was quite keen at the DRF. I just think going a mile an hour faster and he'll switch off.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the strongest, Nathaniel Lacey.
Agreed.
Kaczynski was second, and I think at 3-1, he's vulnerable. I don't know for what reason Dr. De Menil, he was disappointing twice, but I think he's a good bit of better horse than he's shown. He's only 16-1, but I thought if he lined up here going a real trip, it would suit him. I think the horse that won in Thurles, the big black horse of Espresso Milan, I think he'll love a trip, that fella, and gallop all day. I think he'll run a big race in it too at a good price. And the one I'd really fancy if he ran in it is I'll Sort That. But I think they're going to go to the Turners. I think he's tailor-made for the Albert Bartlett.
Okay. Johnny, it has been a load of outsiders that come up in this race over the years, haven't they? So
it's either like a real obvious favourite like Wichita Lineman or Rebecca Curtis won with another one at Fisher's Cross, I think. If it's not an even money chance, it tends to be a 25-1 chance. And I think the front two are crazy prices here. For 7 to 2 and 5-1, what's like, it's about 7-4 combined. You'd go to your nosebleed lane, those two, I think. I think you would anyway. And have the other 20 running for you. You know, that kind of way. I think this is a wide open race. I don't think the Nathaniel Lacey was a great race. I think it only has a chance, Dr. Steinberg. Devil You Know has a chance, that's all, but it's a 10-1 chance in my opinion, not a 5-1 shot. And I could see the horse Ruby mentioned, Espresso Milan, having a chance, but I think you'd be inclined to take on the front two here anyway and close your eyes.
Just wait for the day and have a look for something at a big price.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
Okay.
I tend to agree. I was looking at bigger prices. I was looking at King's Bucks potentially for Henry de Bromhead, who's got some form at the track, has run really well in some decent novice hurdles. Henry de Bromhead has obviously won this race with the Minello Indu, didn't he? 51 when a maiden. So I can see King Bucks being a player. And the other one, you've already dissed this form in passing, is Klimt Madrick, who was second to No Drama This End in the Challow.
Oh yeah.
Funny enough, I think the ideal race for this horse is on Saturday in the EBF final, and so that's the kind of race I think that he could definitely win. However, I think he looks like a stayer. He still looks very raw. Those kind of horses can do well in this race, and I think the trip is and the track is going to suit him really well, much better than Newbury, and I think he can build on that. Also, he's from a yard that's very capable, the Toby Lawes yard, and yet doesn't have a reputation, so I think he's probably a bigger price than he should be, bearing in mind that he was runner up to No Drama This End. So those are the two that I'm kind of looking at the moment.
So I was kind of more just like the form of No Drama. Like he's beaten a 50-1 chance, saying the Albert Bartlett rather than the horse itself. I wouldn't be surprised if anything could win a race like this anyway for starters.
Yeah. Okay.
I just been saying that No Drama's form is like beating short price, big price horses even in weaker races. You know, kind of way.
Yeah, gotcha. Tony.
Sortudo, will he run this?
The Torn, Willie thought maybe after Nace, they looked like he wanted to go back in trip rather than up. So I'm not so sure.
Yeah, no, Dr. Steinberg to me might be just too free.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine when this is a fairly competitive race, they're not going to just let him jump out and make it.
Yeah.
They're going to be up an eye on him, and he's quite free. So I'd, be a little afraid backing him.
Yeah.
When he's going to be taken on all the way, but I don't know what to beat him.
Yeah, well, look, the consensus is it's an open race. It's hard. It's hard to pick when you would be cracked to be back in a short price one anyway. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And
Klimt Madrick and Kings.
Klimt Madrick.
I know, Klimt Madrick. I know, it's not the easiest.
Klimt Magic.
The commentator must be cursing. Who thought of that? And King's Bucks.
And King's Bucks and the Espresso one.
Espresso Milan, maybe.
Espresso Milan.
So I'd Sort That if he turns up here. I think he's crazy.
That got a lot of mentions at previews I was at, King's Bucks. Every night it was there, it was piping up at that one,
And I'll Sort That as well.
Is that a good sign or a bad sign?
I'd say it's a good sign, I'd say.
Who was piping out? Depends on who was piping out.
Darryl O'Keefe and fellas like that.
Oh, okay.
They said it was beaten in the same race that Manella was beaten, I think, or something like that, and he's maiden as well, same profile.
Yeah, okay.
And I'd say You Proof is probably a good horse. Is he that horse that beat him in Limerick?
Ah, he is fair horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Grant, okay, on to the Gold Cup now. Wide open contest. Tony, you've always been, we had the factor file kind of discussion earlier.
Yeah.
And he's probably not going to run here, but if he's not here...
He's not in the betting, you know, but anyway, he has to be supplemented before he'll be put in the betting. So, the King George, I suppose, tells you everything, you know, that it's there's 4 horses within a neck.
Yeah.
At the end of a top-class race. Now, it was a beautiful spectacle to watch, but I just can't see the winner of a Gold Cup getting a hard race, 4 of them up the straight. So, from that point of view, I'd nearly count out the 4 of them and say that I'm going back to Gallopin des Champs. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm hearing that Gallopin des Champs is back to his best. I heard Gavin Cromwell giving the up speech for I Know the Way You're Thinking. I must have it wrong in my head. There's something I'm not seeing. I think the ambulance will pass him.
Yeah.
There's been some yakety-yak about him having some attention to his back. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But again, we're talking about what's being said on the
The only thing I've seen
circuit.
about his back is he's a long way back from the other horse. That's all I can see with him. I don't know. I could have this wrong, but I just can't see him up there. And then the 4 horses in the King George, I just can't see 4 horses being Gold Cup horses being within the neck of each other at the end of a King George. In saying that, the real winner was finished 5th that day, you know, fact to file. Yeah. But he obviously didn't turn up on the day, which can happen. So it's all leading back to Gallopin des Champs is the best horse and has been the best horse, and it's been documented that he wasn't at his best last year. So if that's true, essentially he'd have 3 Gold Cups in a row won. And what I'm hearing is that he's turned inside out since the DRF.
Yeah.
So if he has, he wins.
Is that so? Ruby, on that note, like, I mean, it's hard. It's like you say. I know the way you're thinking. It's impossible to fancy, barring just hearing stuff. Like, but Gallopin, like, on what we've seen, is not as good as Gallopin was a couple of years ago, and is what age is he? 10.
10, yeah.
Yeah, 10. So it's unlikely he's improving.
Had a hold up obviously before the John Durkin and missed the John Durkin, and then looked light to me in Christmas. He looked really fit. He looked too fit almost at Christmas for a horse that hadn't had a run.
Yeah. And does that suggest that he's on a diet or just like not eating or whatever?
I said he just chased him, galloped him, worked him, and he did look light. He looked tucked up to me in the ring at Christmas, and that's the way he ran. He ran a little bit flat, and I thought he looked a bit better, but still there was no strength to him. He looked lean, greyhoundish rather than he can be fit and strong. He looked light. And that's not him. But since the DRF, he just seems to be blossoming. The strength seems to be back in him. And
so there is a buzz about the place going, Jesus, he's great,
He's in great nick. But the same goes for Factified and Gaelic Warrior. They both look like they've come forward from the Dublin Racing Festival as well. They both look really well and are starting to blossom at the right time. I think of the King George horses, the one I think that's most likely to get the trip is Gaelic Warrior. I think going...
Even though he won't settle?
Of course he'll settle. Down the inside in Leopardstown, be easy to settle him. Or Cheltenham, be easy to settle him. You get stuck out on the outside at Leopardstown with nothing in front of you. Gold Cup, to be a strip of ground, the width of this studio down the inside, 7 or 8 yards. Everyone will be bunched in on it. Park him at the back.
Okay.
He settled beautifully at entry last year, tucked in on the inside. No problem settling.
He was right at the back, wasn't he, when he was at Aintree?
At Aintree, only a 6-runner field, but you could drop him in 3/4 way down the inside in the Gold Cup. Don't move on him till you get back down over the water second time. Give him a squeeze of the ditch and the next playing fence and you're on their tails anyway.
If he does settle, he's got to be a huge player. Can I ask about the C word for Gallopin des Champs and cheek pieces? Because Willie did mention it in his stable tour.
I didn't hear him say anything about it since now. He's in good nick at home at the minute. Probably think about it, and I wouldn't be shocked if he does, but I wouldn't guarantee it.
Just to get him to jump through his fences rather than...
I'd say he's just better than he has been for a while at the moment.
And Paul Town is basically committed to him already. So you
can't get off him.
Yeah, but you can't read too much into him deciding he's riding Gallopin over Gaelic Warrior, right?
Well, definitively, even if there's 5 of us sitting here, could you say one will definitely beat the other? You couldn't. So if you're Paul Townend, you're sitting there thinking, I'm not sure which one of them will win, but I know which one of them will hurt me more. from not riding it and wins. That's what it'll come down to.
Yeah. Do you see the fairy tale, Johnny?
No, I don't, to be honest, but been wrong before. Look, I struggle to see Galopin Des Champs when he's just that bit too old. I kind of like a horse going to the Gold Cup having his first go at it, really. It tends to be, that kind of works well, that situation. I think a horse that you're not sure that will get the trip, that actually does get the trip, is more likely to win than one that's going back again.
Yeah.
So I'd be giving a lot of horses a chance, but Galopin Des Champs wasn't actually one of them, really. I don't know what you'd go for to actually have a bet. I think it's one of the more open races of the whole meeting. It's definitely one of the most open Gold Cups in years and years. So
yeah.
I couldn't be definitive of which one I'd pick. If you force me, I'd go without any conviction, Django Boy, maybe.
Django Boy. Lydia, are we being like massively kind of arrogant about just ignoring some of the English horses, like with like?
I think Django Boy and the Jukebox Man have both got really strong chances. I can see both of them running really well. I think
What about Haiti Color for a bit of a native river?
I'm less keen on Haiti Color. I'm not. I think there are classier horses essentially in this race than him. I think he'll have to hold his position better. I mean, maybe there were other reasons why he wasn't able to jump off and be as positive as Sean Bone would have liked to have been at Haydock, but. This is another level again of anything that he's and that defeat of Lon Presse. I mean the British handicapper seems to think that that's a career best from Haiti Color. I can't see that at all. Lon Presse didn't give his running. He didn't jump at all. He was barely there. Venetia Williams said afterwards that it was reminiscent of the third release where the horse just didn't mentally turn up at all, and I agree with her. So I just don't think Haiti Color's form is good enough. But I do think the Django Boy and the Jukebox Man have both got a really good chance. I like the way that the Jukebox Man, his will to get there in the King George, and the way he jumped the last, which was essentially the winning of the race. I think Django Boy was just got in close a couple of times in the straight and was just in slightly the wrong position and was always playing catch up. I think he get carried a bit left as well. There was some, because it developed into a sprint. I think small things affected all of the
left.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I think small things was affecting all of them in the straight. So Gaelic Warrior, I think, kind of got on the back foot 4 out, and he was always trying to get to position A. Similar in Django Boy in the straight. And I think that those small things had an impact on those. So whilst they did all finish in a bunch, I do think that was more a function of the way the race was run rather than them all being much of a muchness. I think they can all have a chance. We know that Django Boy handles Cheltenham. I think he'll probably stay the trip. We know that we know more for him than the Jukebox Man, but the Jukebox Man has only just been touched off in an Albert Bartlett, so you'd still be fairly confident about him. You might wonder whether his very best form is on flat tracks. That might be a question mark for him. I do think the Gaelic Warrior, if he settles, I think he's got a lot of talent. We've seen that with him and Factifal this season. I'm a bit like Johnny, but more long-windedly. I think this is a very, very competitive race. And I think that Galopin Des Champs was not at his best. So I think I know the way you're thinking was possibly a bit overrated for the rating that he got for winning the Gold Cup last year. And even if you factor that in, that's still just one peak performance. And either you go for word of mouth and miraculously he's going to step forward on the day and you're a true believer, or you use the evidence of your eyes and say he just hasn't been at the races at all. I mean, he emptied 2 strides from the last and took a heavy fall in the Irish Gold Cup. That's the last thing we saw of him. So if we are getting some more positive vibes, that's only for the true believers. And I do think that Galopin Des Champs can run better than last year. I think he can run at least as well as last year, a year older, which is against him. But if he were to wear cheek pieces, I think that he will still be putting up the level of performance where he won't be brushed aside as a track which brings out his his particular strengths, thank you, of speed and stamina combination. And not many horses have both of those things, and he has both of those things. Yeah. He has some pace to hold his position, but he's also a thorough stayer at 3 mile, 2.5
relentless
furlong.
kind of, yeah. Okay, so Galopin Des Champs.
Well, I mean, yeah, I know, it's pathetic, isn't it?
It's not pathetic. It's not, that's why it's deadly. It's why it's open. It's cool,
Immediately after the DRF, Galopin Des Champs was 10-1, which makes me think taking 7s or 8s is less attractive. I'm going to make up my mind nearer the day, but it's not going to be I know the way you're thinking. I know that much. Okay. I prefer my eyes to my ears.
And you're not sure either.
Token Django Boy.
Django Boy. I never nailed you down. Are you like bigger price between Gaelic Warrior, Galopin Des Champs type of thing? Or?
Yeah.
Whichever's bigger of those two,
I
because
think
they're
so,
both
yeah.
flying
Which
at
one
home.
do you think is going to be bigger?
Don't know, Johnny.
Would the shorter price
You're the bookmaker.
will be Galloping the Champ.
I think so as well, yeah.
It's amazing how they steam into horses that have done it before, and horses that, like, the last year Cato Star ran in the Gold Cup. I think he was 12, was he?
Yeah.
Could have been. He had no chance in it anyway, I don't think. And you couldn't keep him off him.
Yeah.
So the public will back them horses.
Yeah.
So I'd say there'd be money for. I wouldn't be surprised if Galloping the Champ was favoured in this race.
See, I'm one of those idiots who'd be straight in as well.
Yeah.
I want to be on the fairy tale bus.
Yeah, like even at Christmas, there wasn't like a huge word for him.
No.
Yet they backed him off the board.
Yeah.
And it'll be the same year. I wouldn't be surprised if Galloping the Champ's favoured in this race when the time goes up.
Yeah.
Gaelic Warriors, though.
Gaelic Warriors.
Or Factify, whichever one of the two of them runs.
Yeah. Okay, great, perfect. Okay, that's kind of clear as mud. Right, the Hunter's Chase is next. So Tony and Lydia are off the hook for this one. Do you lads have any?
Look, it's on the line. He's been second 3 times. Like, he's going to be close enough to winning. He may not win, but I think he'll definitely be placed.
Yeah.
He's an each way price. He's going to be 6 or 7 to 1.
Yeah.
If he doesn't win, he'll be close to doing so. I
It's
think
on
he's
the
a good
line.
chance. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Panda Boy, I thought has been impressive the twice. I saw him at Thurles and Naas, and someone said, wrapped up in May.
Wrapped up in May.
Someone
Because
said
someone
wrapped up in
said,
May.
it sounds like nap material to me.
It's the outsider of Sam Curling's too.
Okay.
Worked last year. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. The Martin Pipe, lucky last. Tony, you're off the hook for this one.
Off the hook.
Lydia?
I don't have a clue.
Okay, Lydia off the hook for this one too.
What way it is
Well,
he?
I'm ending with a whimper.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Lads, Martin Pipe, what's the fairy tale finish for somebody?
I like a Mullins horse in this race, actually. Jump Allen.
Okay.
I think that's a chance. It won a handicap hurdle at Sandown at the back at the last meeting of the year.
Yeah.
And it hasn't run since overhurled, but it won a charity race there lately in
Yes.
Punchestown. Beat that Danny Feely, who isn't a bad horse, that Danny Feely.
Yeah.
And like, it's coming here like fresh. I think it's gone up only £5 for winning in Sandown. It's in enough 1-3-3. I think that has a big chance in a race like this.
Jump Allen.
Yeah.
And that fresh thing is the modern Mullins method, isn't it, for handicap hurdles?
And Rock Dino.
Yeah, I would say that the one thing here is the jockey.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. This is a very serious race that, the claimer that's riding well in the last 8 or 10 weeks, whoever that is now, I haven't been paying enough attention
Canadian
to it.
Staples are the Irish
Canadian,
too.
that,
They're the Irish too. You'd be looking for.
I see,
Somebody,
you
I
could
heard
pick-
that with Canadians riding Kel Hestoir for Mullins for McManus.
Yeah.
That'd be a pointer there.
Yeah, well, that'll be a pointer for me.
Yeah.
Rock Dino would have a chance too, and I'm trying to figure out, I missed one earlier. Road Exile. I think he's going to the Albert Bartlett.
I heard he might be a non-runner.
No, that Lou. I heard last night someone saying he was
I
heavy.
fancied him for the Albert Bartlett. I checked his price. He was 360 to 1,
Yeah.
so I'd say,
I think he's staying at home.
That Lou. No,
Would it take the vibe?
I don't think that.
Taking a clue from that.
I think I would.
I would as well, yeah.
Right, order. Right, day 4 naps. Tony.
Day 4. What races have we again?
We have the Triumph, the County, the Mayor's Chase, the Albert Bartlett, the Gold Cup.
Yeah, I'll have to go for Galloping the
Galloping the
Champ.
Shop, yeah. Sounds like you put an awful lot of work and study into that nap. Tony, thanks for that. Lydia?
This is the weakest of my 4-day naps, I think, Diva Luna.
Diva Luna, okay, and that's in the Mayor's Chase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the weakest of mine as well. I'll go, it's on the line.
It's on the line, the Hunter Chase.
And Dino Blue.
And Dino Blue and the Mayor's Chase. Grant. Okay, perfect. I'm going to actually ask you for your nap of the festival now. So try and make sure it's not against one of the horses you've napped earlier. Ruby.
Kopek to board.
Kopek to board. Wow, early doors getting out of the way. Yeah.
New line.
New line, day 1 as well.
Meet me by the sea.
Meet me by the sea, day 3.
Bambino Fever.
Bambino Fever.
By a long way.
By a long way. Okay, that is brilliant. That's it. 28 races covered. Loads of winners. If not tipped, certainly mentioned, I'm sure. A reminder again that if you are having a bet next week, or indeed any week, please do make sure you do so responsibly. And a few half-hearted plugs here before we go. Oh yeah, maybe remember to, I was about to say unsubscribe. Subscribe to the Paddy Power Racing YouTube.
Please don't. Please don't do that.
Okay, I promise you I won't say that. So please do subscribe to the Paddy Power Racing YouTube. Free bets the first 3 days at Cheltenham. The Eliminator worth 250 grand all 4 days. So get involved if you want. And that's it, we're out. So thanks to everybody at home for watching, and thanks to you guys, the esteemed panel, as we called you at the start. And I think you remain esteemed, and you remain a panel. So thank you, and enjoy Cheltenham. Cheers.
Thank you.
Right.